Hey everybody,
Hello.
We are now live.
Hooray.
So welcome to this year's Halloween Horror Nights review with Brian and I. So this might be a longer show because, oh man, do we have lots of notes. At least I do. So this year, of course, as usual, we have, it's been for the last few years, it has been, we have 10 houses and 5 scare zones, and we're back to 2 shows, although only 1 live show, which is a departure from the past. And since we've got a lot to blah blah about, let's get right into it.
Dave, your title right now says Rock Talk.
Really? How does it say? Right here it says September 10th.
Yeah, it says September 10th. BIG HHN 29 review show spoilers. But in the beginning it says Rock Talk.
What?
Rock Talk September 10th, 2019.
How? It doesn't say that at all over here.
It says it on my screen.
This makes no sense. YouTube, fix this. After a great start here. Now I gotta remember where I was. Well, I did start well. I got derailed.
Sorry.
So, as I was saying, man, I was doing so well. So we're here to talk about Halloween Horror Nights 29. So let's start off with the houses and Ghostbusters. Oh wait, that was Ash vs. Evil Dead. Ghostbusters! All right, so that is the first time that Ghostbusters has been back at Universal Studios Florida in a very long time. You may or may not know that when the park opened, there was, where Race Through New York is currently, there was a show called the Spooktacular. I think Ghostbusters Spooktacular. It involved that rooftop scene from the first movie and some special effects in the Ghostbusters. I don't remember if it included the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but I was about to say, I don't know if I said it, but because it's a live show, we're just going to go right into the spoilers because anybody can join us at any time. Anybody can join us at any time.
They're coming. They're coming.
So just being upfront about that. If we pre-record it, we don't.
Hi, John West.
Oh, hey, John.
By the way, that's Felix from the Palace.
Oh, wow. That goes way back.
Yeah. This is Bleach.
Still sporting the Felix, I see.
Yeah.
Cool. So getting right into Ghostbusters, the castings are amazing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's a couple of it's good enough, but like I've said before, they're limited to how many people apply. Now, a lot of people do apply, but like when you first walk in, one of the first scare actors you encounter is Janine. There's
who looks like Annie Potts.
Yeah.
And has a live mic and sounds like Annie Potts.
Yeah, which is amazing. So, I wonder if this is one of those times where like a scare actor, well, she wouldn't know. She couldn't have, well...
They do sometimes. It depends. It depends on what they need.
That might have been a special role because she needed to fit a character.
Yeah.
Like the dancers last year in New York weren't just people who came in and like, answer this question. Oh, yeah, you'll be a dancer in New York.
Yeah.
Oh, darn, they can't dance.
No, they do look for special skills. So she might perform in the park all year, or maybe they I don't know, discovered her somehow. But she looks like Janine from Ghostbusters.
I thought it was a recording. I didn't realize it was a live mic the first time I walked through because it sounded so much like the character.
But if you remember Ash vs. Evil Dead, there was this character with a live mic.
Yeah.
So I believe in Janine's case, or the character of Janine, that she needs to follow certain parameters to stay in character.
Yeah.
But like when I went through the house, someone behind me said, "Oh, we love you." She goes, "Oh, thanks. I've been here 2 weeks without a break."
Yeah. So it's probably more restrictive. Well, both of them are IPs, so they have certain restrictions on them. The funny thing is, well, we'll get to that when I talk about the classic monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously, as you would expect, there are iconic scenes throughout the house, starting with when you first enter. It is the New York Public Library, which of course we have here a facade of still in Universal Studios. That was for a little while. There was a show where Beetlejuice takes possession or possesses the Ghostbusters and makes them sing and dance, including Ecto-1, which, according to what I read, used to be a thing in the park for like parades and things, and then during one of the parades it crashed.
Ooh.
And they just kind of got rid of it.
By the way, fun fact, both of my show directors played Louis Tully in the old Ghostbusters show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's how long they've been with the park.
I might have been able to have gotten that role. I know Brett thinks that I would have been able to fill it. I just believe that if I could fill that role, it probably would have been back in May when I first wanted to apply, but then, things happened. So, a lot of other iconic scenes, of course, the office, when they were trapping Slimer at first, a lot of amazing details and stuff like that. The Pepper's Ghost effect when you walk through is kind of not so great. It's a little distorted, and you can see the pane of glass they're using. If you're not familiar with it, for whatever reason, Pepper's Ghost effect is when you take a projection or a video screen or something and then have a pointed at an angled piece of glass, so you see the projection, but you see something behind it, so it just looks like it's floating like a ghost. Mm-hmm. It's used a lot, and it's used in this house at least once. Yeah. It might be twice.
At least Slimer, the library ghost, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
But this house is definitely an A+ for me.
Yeah, it's amazing.
If you love the movie, and who doesn't like the movie?
Yeah.
I mean, really, the movie is a stone cold classic.
Yeah.
All the iconic scenes, all the iconic lines. Winston saying, "Man, I love this town." When Dana gets grabbed in the chair, the devil, the demon dogs or the gargoyle dogs.
Yeah.
The library ghost, the getter from Library Ghost.
A lot of books.
Oh yeah.
And the Dewey Decimal System the card stacks with slime.
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't been able to stay around long enough, but I know the librarian goes. I don't know if she ever actually goes in full ghost. Probably.
No. She goes shh, and then when you go down, that's when they do the getter, and she pops out in the.
Okay. There's also a containment unit.
Yeah.
Which are in fact 2 of in the park. we'll get to that later.
Authentic proton packs, both hanging on the wall and on the scare actors, which are phenomenal. They told us, I'm a scare actor, so they told us that they worked very hard to get that excellent. My favorite part of the house, and maybe you can say your favorite part, is when you see Dana as the gatekeeper on the roof, and she goes, "There is no Dana, only Zool."
Yeah.
And then Louis Tully stands awkwardly, goes, "I am the keymaster," and then leaves again.
Yeah.
It's a perfect blend of like horror yet comedy.
And you would probably like it even more if I got that part.
Oh, that would be so. You just come out and go, "I am the keymaster," then just leave again.
But of all of the IP, when we get to your house, of all the IP this year, and Stella, all of the potential lines you could say, there's none fitting better than your line. We'll get back to that soon. Hope you like the. It's not as foggy as I thought it would be, but yeah.
It needs more water, but then it would be like.
Well, no, that's the maximum. It says don't put any more than that.
Oh, okay.
So, let's see the containment. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which I heard rumors that someone saw them bringing that in to the soundstage months ago. I was like, I don't know, but Hollywood kind of goofed and had put up the Ghostbusters on their website before they were ready to release it, to announce it, and they took it down quickly. But you know how the internet goes.
Mm-hmm.
Once someone takes a screenshot, it's done.
That's it.
Again, the library scene, which is really cool. I would love to do the Unmasking the Horror tour of that if I can take photos, because sometimes when we did it back in 25, you could take photos wherever you want.
Oh yeah.
Later that same year, they had problems with IP houses. Oh, hold on. Stella, come out here.
Come here, Stella.
Stella.
Come here.
And I don't know what happened, but they are more restrictive. So you might not be able to take out pictures of the Ghostbusters house. It depends on the studio. But I would love to take pictures of that house, especially the first few scenes with the library, with all those books, just because I'd be curious what books they put in there. And then, a lot of other details besides that. But
I mean, when you pass through the house, you can kind of glance at the books.
Yeah, but there's too many. There's so many. Again, Janine at her desk, just constantly talking, so and must be very thirsty at the end. And Winston, in his house, just like the movie, you don't see him until like halfway through the house.
Well, I mean, he joined the company after they started, so that's why he joins the movie.
But I don't know. I feel like he deserves to be with them from the beginning. But obviously, Ghostbusters 2, he was with them the whole time.
Yeah.
And side note, apparently, the Ghostbusters movie, which I wish they made before when they were all alive, when they were talking about it, apparently, what's his name? Ernie, is it?
Oh, Ernie Hudson?
Yeah, apparently he's going to be in the new Ghostbusters.
Oh, cool.
Because I heard that was maybe not going to happen, but there's a website I never heard of called Cameo that you can pay a certain amount of money and get a birthday wish or something from a celebrity, and that was someone's cameo.
Oh, that's cool. That's fun.
Unfortunately, it's not for promotional use because I wanted to have like a metal like drummer or someone do a promo for Rock Talk, but you can't do that. So the hot dog cart is another iconic scene where it opens up and ghosts fly out. Well, the hot dog cart is in the house, and you do smell the hot dogs cooking. Pretty strong as well.
Yeah.
The burn marks. Oh yes, when you see Slimer and the cart, the housekeeping cart with all the toilet paper and stuff, which has a little bit of a flame effect, which last time I walked through the house, it wasn't working. But Stella! But in that scene, you do see the burn marks on the wall from when they used their proton packs and burned up the whole wall. So that's another awesome detail. I'm sure I'm going to miss a lot of details because there's so much. Also, the Janine's recording and just the whole house there's so many details. As I wrote down here, much house, such detail. Wow.
Wow. No, this house really is a knock out of the park. The Diz on YouTube were able to shoot in all the houses, and
yeah, a bunch of them did. Not me. They haven't been able to do that in years.
Yeah, but all the comments for the YouTube video. By the way, if you're all curious and you can't make it to Horror Nights, you can look up videos and live vicariously.
Yes.
So I wouldn't call this necessarily a scary house, but
as you figured it wouldn't be, because
I mean the movie has scary moments, but it's not a horror movie.
It's generally considered a comedy.
Yeah. But all the comments are very positive about this.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, this is a total A+.
And when you walk through, you hear audio from the movie, which is Casey Kasem.
Oh, yes, it is.
Which is funny, because we also have the Scooby-Doo characters. And Shaggy was voiced by Casey Kasem, which is... I remember when I first saw them, I'm like, the American Top 40 guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next on our top 40 list.
So, and then the library ghost, of course, again. But a lot of people... so Ghostbusters is my favorite house, by far. And my favorite scare zone, I think, is Vanity Ball.
Yeah,
but, I'm 50-50 on this answer. I'm not sure. What's your favorite house?
Well, I will say I have not yet been able to see all the houses.
Still?
I've seen most of them. I need to see Us. I need to see Graveyard Games and Universal Monsters. I've seen everything else.
It wasn't super busy on opening day.
No, but I saw 5 houses and 2 shows with no express, so that's pretty.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah,
that's your problem. You bothered to waste time with shows when you could have been going to the houses, and you can watch the shows another time because there's never lines for shows.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I went to see the one show, the Lagoon show, on preview night, but I still got to see all 10 houses, and then Ghostbusters twice. I actually had time to do another 2 or 3 houses. The problem is because I had a super early morning shift that day. I had been up since like before 5 a.m. and by 12:30 a.m. after working and then walking around the park, I just was like,
yeah.
I'm like, standing is hard right now. And I made it about 12:30, but the house waits were like almost nothing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do Ghostbusters again, but I just couldn't.
Yeah. I had some bad luck with lines. Twice I was in a very long line, and then I don't know. By the time I got almost to the house, the line had died down. So maybe I could have seen 6, but I had a pretty solid run with no express. I mean, 5 houses, 2 shows. That's pretty solid.
The downside of you being a scare actor or working the event, the best time to go for us is preview night.
Yeah.
It took me longer to go through the houses because I was with 2 other people, and I think we did a little too much of the zigzaggy. Because last year I had gotten through all 10 houses, or 9 of the 10 houses in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I did go see the show, which is coming up on the list here.
But to answer your question,
awesome. So I know what two houses are contenders. I don't know who wins.
What do you think are the contenders then?
House of the Thousand Corpses or Ghostbusters?
Huh. That's actually fascinating you say that. That is pretty fascinating because it is kind of between those two houses. I think.
Well, I've known you since 1997.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So I have some ideas.
I think I'm going to go with House of a Thousand.
Yeah.
The movie is straight up horror, but it's also a lot of fun. I like the soundtrack. I like the concept of the movie. So.
But I'm sure that very close is the next one on our list here, which of course is. So it is Attack of the Killer Clowns. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which, well, we're missing our, anyway, which proves that this shirt is magic.
So I bought this shirt
last year.
Yes.
At MegaCon.
So last summer,
well, it wasn't even summer, it was March.
Okay, so no. Yeah, MegaCon's May.
Is it May?
Yeah.
But still, before anything was announced.
Yeah.
And I said, Brian, I've never heard of this movie before, and you kind of explained it to me. I said, wouldn't it be funny if it was a house or a scare zone one of these years for Halloween Horror Nights? I mean, it's a small indie cult classic, so not many people know about it, so probably it won't happen. And then
it got announced like
a month later, maybe.
Yeah.
If not less.
So I just happened to be at MegaCon, and in the merch area was a guy selling all these like horror T-shirts. Like he had everything. He had The Shining, Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw. And then, like, in the middle of that was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm like, oh.
Was it 2 or 3 shirts?
Yeah, like, there was, like, 2 or 3. Like, one was the movie poster. One was all the clowns on it. So, I was like, well, that's a fun movie. Like, I had no idea it was coming to Horror Nights. I just wanted to buy it. I have history with this movie.
Yeah.
I grew up in a house with cable. So USA Up All Night or Billy Bob's Monster Vision.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you grew up in a house with clowns that killed people.
Did I?
He was like, wow, that's very specific.
Yeah. So I saw this movie when I was way too young to see this movie. I remember I must have seen it on cable like when I was like 8 or 9. And the part where they make the balloon dog and they put it down, and I'm like, oh, that's a balloon dog. Oh, that's cute. And it comes alive. Like, I'm like, oh crap. And then like the clown actually like goes like this, like he's being dragged by the dog.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, it's been part of me throughout my life. When I actually enjoyed horror movies, I watched it again, and so I just happened to buy it. And then they announced it, and the zone was great.
Yeah.
It was a street zone last year, and
it was great unless it was raining or some other reason why the clowns weren't out.
Yeah. So now it is a house, and I am now part of that. I'm a character in the house. So like.
And last year, I think it was, or maybe this year, Brandy was like, "Well, so what's the new shirt that's going to tell everyone what house is?" And like, oh, I didn't buy a new shirt because the guy wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's like, we found out later, there's a reason because, yes, you know, because you were meant to still have that one shirt.
Yes.
and it was like kind of like in Big, where it appears and it's unplugged. Like the shirt guy didn't appear for a reason. So now you've gone from a super fan to part of it.
Yeah, part of it.
Kind of like David S. Pumpkins. What are you now? Part of it.
Yeah. So shall we announce my scare? So I play Officer Mooney. If you've ever seen the actual movie, he is the sheriff. He doesn't believe anything's going on. Like people like show up at the station talking about killer clowns. They're like, oh yeah, oh you know, dude, punks, you're just trying to prank me. And then like he's getting calls about killer clowns. Oh yeah, you're just trying to make me a dummy. You're not gonna make a dummy out of me. And
does he actually say dummy?
Yeah, he actually says dummy. Then, if you've seen the movie, there's an iconic part where he is being used as a puppet.
As a dummy.
Yeah. The clowns cannot actually speak, or they speak very limited, like they'll say pizza.
Probably because of budgetary limits.
Yeah. So they use him as a dummy, and so like he's hanging there. He's got like they painted him up like to look like a dummy. And so my line is, "Don't worry, Dave. All I want to do is kill you." This guy's name is Dave. It's so...
How fitting.
Yeah. Now, in the movie, the character, the deputy's name is also Dave.
Yeah.
But, like, for our purposes, it's perfect.
And so what did I do the first night?
So, you came up, and you had perfect timing, because my scare's actually a little bit long. I say the line, "Don't worry, Dave, we only want to kill you." And then there's like music that plays. I'm supposed to like reach out and try to grab people.
Which is funny because that's not how the scene plays.
No, but it's from show direction. Like that's what they wanted.
Because the actual scene is after he says that, he like drops the guy and he pulls his hand out full of blood.
Yeah.
And then he starts getting up and like pushing desks out of the way all angrily, and then he starts firing the gun at the clown, and it doesn't work, and then he shoots the nose, and
that's their weakness.
Yeah, it explodes in confetti, and then like some really bad early CG happens, and he dies. The clown explodes.
Yeah, but this guy had perfect timing. He came in right at the beginning of my scare. I hit a trigger, but like if you're in like a certain part of the line, then you'll get one end or the other. So you had perfect timing. You came, I was able to do it, and I said, "Don't worry, Dave." And you go, "All I want to do is kill you," and you go running off.
Yeah, it's what we do every year now, or I practically run into a wall, or
yeah.
And last year, I think it was, or the year before, the person behind me, was just the next guest in line and didn't know either one of us or anything like that, and just started laughing like super, like a huge laugh, because he thought like it was a genuine reaction.
Yeah.
They didn't know, so they thought it was hilarious.
So this house is also an A+ for me. It's like Ghostbusters. It's all the iconic parts of the movie. Yeah. You see Shorty a couple times. Shorty is that little clown with the boxing gloves.
What are you going to do, knock my block off?
Woo!
And you actually do see the guy, the head of that guy.
Yeah, and the body.
Oh.
You see the body all slumped over. Then you see like the head on top of something. You see the puppet show. You see Officer Mooney. You see the clown knocking at the door. You see the... one clown has what looks like a box of candy in a heart box, a heart-shaped box, and opens it up, and it's a little baby
box, huh?
Yeah, it's a little baby clown. It goes, "Bah." The pizza delivery. You see
pizza
clown
guy.
Yeah.
Oh, extra pepperoni.
You see Clownzilla, and Clownzilla is amazing. This is like the first year where they've done something like this with a big animatronic. It is operated by a few performers. They have to do the head and the arms, but I mean it's giant. It takes up like most of the area.
And they even have a Clownzilla shirt.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You go through where they have the cotton candy cocoons. You hear the theme song. Yeah, if you're even a slight fan of the movie, definitely go through Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, hey, Brandy.
Hi, Phenomenal Brandy.
Our wrench-wielding mod.
Yeah, hello.
Now on 2 channels.
Oh, congrats. Promotions all around.
Because I couldn't set anyone to mod until I actually was streaming. So after the live streams from the scare zones, I went back and promoted. So.
Well, come here. Stop. You're all tangled up. Look.
So the house, as you could imagine, is, because it's a sort of a dark humor house, I guess. It's very colorful, and in at least one spot you get some really good cotton candy smell. Okay.
So John West has a question. John, I know, has never been to Horror Nights. John, there are 10 different houses. There are 5 scare zones which are out in the streets, and there are two shows. One of them is a live show. One of them is a
dead show.
well, it's a show with water projections.
Pre-recorded.
Yeah. And
6 are, well, 5 are external IP. So, so Ghostbusters, Killer Clowns, Us, and House of a Thousand Corpses. So we'll get to the rest of those shortly.
So Brandy, what you've missed is we did a review on Ghostbusters, and we're now at Killer Clowns. So let's go ahead. Let's re-announce my scare for Brandy.
All right. There is replay, but
all right. So
we were just kind of referencing you as talking about the shirt that tells all.
The premonition shirt.
That I said it was kind of like the fortune teller in the movie Big, where it worked, it just appeared, and then when he needed it again, it appeared again. I mean, well, I guess he had to search for it, but still. The guy showed up with this shirt, he bought it, and then this year he didn't show up because the universe didn't want him to buy a new shirt. Also, fog.
Ooh, it's not Horror Nights without some fog.
Nope.
So I am a scare actor in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
And of all the lines of all of the movies and shows and IP that he could possibly have, he has something that sounds like it was written just for us.
Don't worry, Dave. All I want to do is kill you.
So.
Yeah, the Great Zoltan. That.
Oh yes, thank you.
Thank you, Felix.
We all wish that thing was real, don't we?
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't fall into the hands of someone we don't like.
Yeah.
So, maybe we should do the David. We have 2 return of the Dave and Brian are trying for 2 different things. One, before we move on to Us, we'll do trying thing number 1.
Okay, sure.
Don't want no more of the trying game. So the ice cream truck guys are back.
Mm-hmm.
And also something that wasn't in preview, which I said to Brett, who unfortunately can't make it today, because he has a lot to say as well. So maybe we'll do a 2-part. I don't know. Sure. I said, how cool would it be to have like a little mini scare zone? Because it was based on a house we're going to talk about a little bit, which is Depths of Fear. There's a whole sort of scene outside. It's like, how cool would it be to have a mini scare zone outside, like just outside of the house? Just like I've said in the past years, how cool would it be if there was a scare actor that would go up and down the line, that just an A and B, just one actor. It would just, to entertain people. It might be too much of a problem with space, but this isn't really a scare zone, but it's something that I don't think they've ever done before, which is that ice cream truck is back again from last year, and I thought I saw 2 at one point, but there's at least one, which is Shorty. Last time I saw.
Yeah, there are 2. There's 2 clowns.
Okay, then sometimes there's only one, which is a photo op with the ice cream truck right outside of the house, which is really cool as well.
Yeah.
I hope they do more stuff like that. It's not always easy to do, but that would have been a good thing although it wasn't in the right spot, if they have a house and scare zone like they did for The Purge. But even if they don't, that's something cool that they're doing right now. Also, guest activated triggers. I got sprayed with water. Tell us more about these activated by guest triggers, because you would know them better.
All right, so it's in Killer Clowns. So far, it's the only guest activated triggers I have been able to find. I don't know if any more exist.
I think there might be in Depths of Fear.
I tried the ones at Depths of Fear. They didn't seem to do anything. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe I had bad luck. So at a certain point in the house, you're in a hallway and you will see 3 glowing red buttons. Shiny red buttons.
Ooh. They're a little bit like the easy buttons.
Yeah.
Staples used to have that.
One has a happy face, one has a medium face, and one has a sad face. You can press all 3, they make noises, and one of them sprays you. Is it the sad face that sprays you?
It's the middle one.
Okay, so the middle one sprays you. Now, this actually dates back to Halloween Horror Nights 24, 2014, Giggles and Gore Incorporated. There was a guest activated trigger in that. There was a point in the house where there was a machine and there was there was a clown that had been gotten clobbered by the machine, so now the machine was sticking out of him, and it says, "Don't push this button," and if you push the button, it sprays water on you.
We told you not to.
So this is kind of like a callback to that, where you push the button and it sprays you with water.
So Phenomenal has a comment for us, or mostly you.
Carnival Graveyard had the GITs last year. Okay, thank you. I never found any. That's funny.
That and it's awesome that you. She was referring to you having the scare with Don't Worry Dave and you being in the house of a movie that you love so much.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. Yes, thank you, Brandy. It feels good. I Show Direction has informed us that the directors and the composer will be coming.
You should have worn that to the audition.
I should have. I
didn't think of that till just now.
I should have. I wore my Primus shirt.
Ah.
Yeah. But
that would have been fun. People walk in like, oh, I guess he just assigned himself. Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, they did know. They knew right away because they called me back to the room and said, "Are you willing to let your hair go white and not get a cut?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. What are you guys thinking?" They're like, "Ooh, we can't tell you." I'm really, because the movie has been a part of my life for so long, I'm happy to bring it to life in this way, and I'm happy that the directors and the composer are able to enjoy it and see it come to life like this.
And supposedly the creators of the movie were there to open Halloween Horror Nights on the first night.
Oh,
they were in the front of the park.
I did not see the opening ceremonies.
I was working.
Yeah, I went to one of the holding areas to maximize time. I thought about going to Gates and watching the opening, but I was like, well, I'm going to lose too much time.
Yeah, I swore that I put in a time off request for the opening night, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I did put in a few weeks before. I did put in a partial time off request for the preview night, which, looking back, I kind of wish I had put a full day off and just used 4 hours of PTO, so that would pay time off, which would mean I wouldn't have had to get up so early. It worked because I had time to go to work 4 hours, come home, get ready, do some other stuff, and go back in plenty of time where I can meet up with. I tried to get some of the donuts that I'll talk about in a little bit, but they were sold out. But if I had gotten up at like more like 9 or 10 o'clock, and in the late morning, I would have had a little more energy to. But oh well. So yeah, I guess activated triggers, and the closest I think we've seen. In fact, I have to remind myself to do this. The closest we've seen to a 3D house in a while. It's not really 3D, but it's got a lot of color and contrasts and stuff. So I'm wondering if those 3D glasses that are chroma depth 3D, it's not painted to be 3D, but it might have some interesting results if I walk through with them.
Maybe give it a shot. Why not?
So yeah, I just have to remember to do it. But yeah, it's a very cool house, very colorful, lots of scenes. What scenes besides yours do you like? Because I haven't seen the movie. Speaking of Brandy, I believe you had said that you were well on the way to seeing all of the movies and getting ready for Horror Nights this year. How's that going?
Yeah, did you see everything you need to see?
Or like which ones are on your list, or have you seen since the last time? I know you're not coming until October, so you have time. But so what scenes do you like other than the one you're in?
So because I get to kind of watch it from my scare, I like the puppet show. I like the way that clown sells it. He kind of does the puppet and like moves them out and goes this. And then his trigger is to do the laugh after he makes the kill in the movie. So he'll pop out and he'll go kind of go like, ooh. It gets a lot of guests. It really does. Like, people aren't expecting it. So he gets a lot of effective scares like that. And then they come to me, they see me, and sometimes when I reach out,
sometimes he knocks his water over.
Yeah. Sometimes I get guests, but like most of the time, there's all kinds of reactions. But I like Clownzilla. I like the cotton candy cocoons, and the last scare of the house is hilarious.
Smells like Teen Spirit, I believe. The only one I noticed, or the strongest one I've noticed, is cotton candy, and that's a really good smell.
Yeah, yeah. The last scare is hilarious. One of the ice cream guys, and it makes me laugh.
Yeah. Are there any other smells besides cotton candy?
I do not know.
Also, what do you think about when you saw your scare on opening night by Cast B and I guess whoever filled in for you?
I like the way the other guy sells it. It's my Cast B tag out is it's his first Horror Nights doing a scare actor. Okay. So while we were rehearsing, I helped him a lot with what to do and what to expect, and show director has helped him a lot.
All right.
So I like the way he sells it. He really sells the puppet aspect. Like after our scare, we both kind of go limp, like we're puppets. Yeah. And then, like, we hit the trigger and we pop up. Don't worry, Dave. So, like, the both of us will get, like, reactions like, oh, that's actually a person. Oh, man.
Brian just does it because he wants to sleep on the job.
Just a quick little
Forgot to mention, I guess you kind of did. You are Cast A again?
Yeah, Cast A. Cast A. So I am the first cast that is going up. So if you see me, if you go into the house first, you'll see me. I do not close the house. So if you go to the house last, you may not see me. But by the way, hello, Jennifer.
Oh, hey. Up there. Okay. Oh, nice to see you as well. So, so Cast A, and we have, actually turns out that they've been selling this candy bar in the park. I didn't realize until Kyle from View from the Cheap Seats pointed it out. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that before. So I have my little Logicam up there, which is a inexpensive webcam, because you know, I only have I have limited resources, but we will use it now. Ta-da! And we have the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Cotton Candy, and Blurry.
It says flavored bar with jelly beans. So cotton candy flavored bar with jelly beans. And I love the packaging.
This is the first time, and then down here it's Halloween Horror Nights. This is the first time I believe that they've made a candy bar and like this type of specific merchandise for a Halloween Horror Nights house or anything.
Yeah.
I think they might have had a few other things that I'm not thinking of right now, but they are expanding the merchandise, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh, it already looks good. It's looks like pink fudge.
Pink Floyd.
By the way, which one's pink?
The wrapper.
The wrapper.
So, right. I guess maybe I'll just do it this way.
You just split it in half. There you go.
It did melt a little in my pocket. Oops. But this is also a Despicable Me treat. That's why.
Marlo, not for you. By the way.
Think.
That's good. It does. It tastes like cotton candy.
I was a little hesitant because I'm not a fan of white chocolate, and this is the base is white chocolate. I don't know if the jelly beans are really relevant to the movie though.
Well, candy-ish. That's good though. So,
I believe it's $4 a piece, or 3 for $10.
Okay.
And of course, if you're an annual pass holder discounts also apply.
So I recommend it. I think it's tasty. So like Dave said, white chocolate base, very heavy cotton candy flavor.
Yeah.
Kind of tastes. It's got the consistency of chocolate, so like where cotton candy kind of like already dissolves as soon as you put it in your mouth. This doesn't. And the jelly beans add a nice thickness to it.
But this is again, like I said, I believe the jelly beans are part of the Despicable Me bar, but it works.
Yeah. That's good. That's tasty. That's real tasty.
And it's available in a lot of different locations, which again we'll get to briefly in this video. So are we?
Yes, it does, Brandy. Brandy asks, does it make you want to take a ride on the Nightmare Merry-Go-Round? Yes, it does.
Well, I mean, what doesn't?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that there is a scare in Ghostbusters that actually originally I wasn't going to go to Ghostbusters first on preview night. I was going to be like, I'm going to go to the back of the park, knock those out first. But I met up with someone who works in our department and is also on YouTube. And she's unfortunately out of the country for a few more weeks. But I asked her if she wanted to be on the show, and she's like, yeah, sure, great, yeah, definitely. So I'm like, good, the answer I was hoping for.
Why don't you shout out her channel as well, if you like?
I don't know if I don't understand if it's her channel or if she's part of it, or I still have to ask her. But the channel she is involved with is Behind the Thrills.
Oh, okay, yes, I know that channel. I do.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's a pretty big channel.
Yeah. They cover a lot of Horror Night stuff and a lot of
stuff.
A lot of theme
park. All over the place.
Yeah, a lot of theme park stuff in general.
But we saw her at Legoland.
Yeah.
But like I said, she sometimes works with the same department at Universal that I do. So when I was standing in line, I saw her, and it was like, hey, of course, like she was looking down at her phone, and like I had a clear shot of her, And then as soon as she looked up, like 2 people like kind of changed where they were standing and like blocked her. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Now that I can get her attention, like she can't see me, so all she saw was some hands waving, and I finally was like, oh hey,
Yeah.
Come over here. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that because she's a little bit further in line, but I walked over and no one said anything. And she's like, I want to see Ghostbusters first, which I was very interested in seeing, but it's in the Music Plaza queue, so I'm like, this is going to be a long line. But like the second room, they got me with all things, a blast of air.
Yes, you're never expecting those. Another house got me with a blast of air.
Yeah.
Just because like you don't really expect them, like they're never obvious.
Oh, well, thank you, Brandy.
Yeah.
This was highly inappropriate. Swing that wrench. We gave you that wrench for a reason. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. That's well, still counts as an engagement on my channel. Sorry for those who are watching live before that was hidden. Again, thank you for Brandy for doing that.
Wrenching it up.
Yep. So, all right. So that's the thing I missed for Ghostbusters. So I've actually gotten a few mild startles, scares this year, which is like, huh. In my 10th year, I'm a veteran, but
It just goes to show that they're always looking to improve, and they're always trying new tricks on the vets.
But it's not. I never get scared. Like people are like, hey, I want to go in the house. It's scary. But startles. Anyone can get startled.
Yeah.
So believe that wraps it up for Killer Clowns.
Yeah, let's move on.
From outer space. So
one last thing. If you are coming and you want to see me, and you want me to scare you, I've got like a creepy scare, so like it's not like a in your face scare. But
yeah,
if you want to see me, do my house first, or get a hold of my set times somehow.
So what's your approximate length of your first scare? And you are not staying. Well, kind of a stay and scream release, but your house doesn't open for stay and scream. It opens at what time?
At 6, I think. No,
because there are the 3, well, sort of 2 stay and scream areas. If you're not familiar with that, you can, if you're in the house, or sorry, in the park before Horror Night starts. Either if you have an annual pass, a daytime ticket, or the new $25 Scream Early ticket, you can go to those two holding areas, and you can be released early before the rest of the people waiting outside. But you're limited to which houses you can go to, and then later everything else opens.
My house opens at 6. That's my first set, and yes, Brandon, I do have Twitter. It's not my YouTube name, but I can't post things on social media like that. Universal's kind of strict about that, so don't worry. You'll get a hold of my set times from somebody.
So the first little bit of when the house first opens is generally the one you'll find them.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on.
So the next one is Discovered Card. Creep on in, on in, on in. All right, so that is a house I remember. I found out about the house, the movie. Sorry, after seeing a SNL skit, which made no sense to me. And then when I found out a little bit more, watched the trailer, I was like, I wonder if they're going to make a house this year from Us. But I don't see how, because you can't make tethers of every single guest that walks through. But you know,
they do it.
They did what they could. Of course, they used a lot of mirrors, which is the obvious way to do that. And lots of scenes from a movie I never watched.
I've seen it, and I did. I saw the YouTube video. I haven't personally been through the house, but I saw the YouTube video. Like I predicted, the house is pretty busy, scare wise. A different experience for Horror Night houses. So what it is there's a lot of choreography, especially toward the end. A lot of reactive moments. From what I saw, the characters knock it out of the park.
I'm still in a cave.
Yeah.
I sit in a cave, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that Saturday Night Live video again, and like, the more times I watch it, the more like I like it more because I understand more of it now.
Yeah. So it's like Ghostbusters and Killer Clowns, where it's iconic parts from the movie, your typical highlights.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever seen the movie, Alexa, call the police. Sure. And then plays the first few parts of F the Police by NWA.
Oops.
Yeah. But like,
of course, it comes from a director who got famous for directing comedies. So
yeah, and was in the comedy.
Or started from comedies. What I mean.
Yeah. One half of Key and Peele, and who also he dates all the way back to Mad TV. That's where Key and Peele met.
Yeah.
So Fernando Brady says we saw Us in the theater and walked out saying how cool it would be as a house, and yeah,
I guess a lot of people did.
It's different as a house because it's more of it almost feels like you're watching a show kind of because of like how the choreography is.
Yes, hi Stella.
Hello Stella. Do you want to be on camera too? Look right there. Oh no, don't. Yeah. That's cool, huh? So
Stella's favorite house was Killer Clowns because she got to see Brian.
Yeah. Aw, Stella.
Don't worry, Stella. I'm only trying to kill you. To see Stella's tether, and where it has the scissors and the special red jumpsuit.
I guess my favorite part of the house is when the tethered white father comes out and kind of does this. It's such a white thing to do, just like ooh. I think the house is great. Some Horror Night fans might be disappointed because it's not so much in your face. Ooh,
yeah,
ooh.
This is like I predicted when they announced Ghostbusters that people are going to be down on it because it's not scary, it's not gory, where's the blood?
But everyone seems to like Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard a complaint about Ghostbusters.
I don't know. People do that though.
Yeah, they do. They do. Some people just need to complain, but a vast majority likes Ghostbusters. I think Us is excellent. So if you saw the movie, and I definitely need to go. I definitely need to go to the house.
I was like, why did I put plenty of theaters? But it's because I think autocorrect changed it.
Oh yeah.
It was plenty of tethers.
Yeah.
There's one room where like they just walk around. There is a room of cages, but I don't think there's any prop bunnies in it.
No, the prop bunnies are in the other room.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but they're not in the cage.
No, they're not in the cage. I think it's supposed to be the part of the movie where they're all out of the cage.
Yeah. Stella is still up on the screen over there.
Yeah.
Shows you how delayed it is.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. I was just thinking how funny would it be. There's some dogs that we see in the park all the time. And I saw them during Halloween Horror Nights. I was thinking how funny it would be if one of them gets, they dye her fur, the dog's fur. I was like, but like to put on a red jumpsuit and like have like a fake pair of scissors, you know, attached to the front, and like maybe like the little fake dog arms, like, like those stupid little dog costumes that have like the legs and the hand and the arms stick out the side and make them look more like a person. Mm-hmm. Before I go any further, I wanted to show you you can't really see the details, but my fake YouTube play buttons I finally decided to do. One says, they both say the same thing, but one says presented to Orlando for passing 1,000 subscribers. The other one is presented to Ruddy Paws for passing 1,000 subscribers.
Yay!
Even though it's been a little while.
Hi, Marlo. You want to be on camera too?
Unfortunately, they don't send you anything for that, not even an email. So just wanted to, in case you were wondering. When
do you get the first YouTube award?
Not till like, I think it's 100,000 or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 100,000. So yeah, let's go ahead. We'll call that not gonna happen. But
hey, you never know, Dave. You never know.
No, it's not gonna happen. It took me over 10 years to get to 1,000 on this channel, and then I've been struggling to get to 2,000 on my Orlando, even though I started off pretty strong. Now the next one is something that for some reason they're calling an IP house, even though it's called Universal's Monsters.
Okay.
Like Universal's right in the name. So we're jumping right into All right. So again, they're treating it like an external IP, but they're the monsters that monster movies. And maybe Universal made them, and other people it was other people's movies. But I thought they're Universal's monsters.
They are.
It's Universal Studios, so it should be internal. It just wasn't created specifically for Horror Nights, because Horror Nights wasn't around until much later. But it's still internal to me.
So, well, I think part of it is that even though it's Universal by the movies,
and the company.
Yeah, these figures have also gone into public domain. That's why Hotel Transylvania, which is Sony, has the likenesses of the Universal monsters, but it's not the Universal monsters. Yeah. So it's Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and is it Invisible Man in there?
I don't know. I couldn't see him.
Good one, Dave.
I don't remember. As a joke that Brett said he was upset that he didn't see the Invisible Man. I'm like, well, maybe he was in there. To catch up with the chat, thanks again, as always, Brandy, for suggesting that people like and subscribe. And definitely John, appreciate that.
John just subscribed.
And Brian will say that the funny thing about John is we've known him.
Oh, we've known John forever. Like
goes back quite a few years.
Yeah, we met John in the South Park Palace back in 1997,
which was a graphical chat room for obviously the show South Park in its first few years. Yeah,
he wore a Felix the Cat AV, very similar to what he's wearing now, except it was the big smiling face. Yeah. So to me, he's always been Felix. That's why I call him Felix sometimes. Yeah. I met him as Felix, and he's always kind of kept that that going.
All right, so
yeah, South Park season 1, way back when.
Yeah.
When it was actually like
still like handmade.
Yeah, and now they've actually got like digital animation, I think,
Yeah.
but
it's still pretty basic.
Yeah.
Sticking with the theme, but it was at least at one point it was actually made from literal construction paper.
Yeah, yeah. So we would watch South Park, then we'd go on the South Park Palace.
Yeah. So this is in the newer parade barn, which was Stays of Exhaustion last year. I don't know if I just got used to it from last year, but it seems like a shorter walk to this house.
Maybe they did that. I have not been through this house yet, so you will have to take the lead on this.
Yeah, there's a lot of not like super wet, but there's a lot of houses with water effects. When you're walking through and you walk up onto a rubber mat,
mm-hmm.
you know you're walking into an area that can be wet.
Yeah,
it is something that you are familiar with, which is an industry standard for kitchens,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
mostly.
Yeah,
and it's an anti-slip mat,
mm-hmm.
so when you're walking, it you don't fall because even if it's a little mist, you do that the whole night, and it becomes a lot of water.
Yeah, and yeah, it prevents any slipping. Like you could be there could be like an inch of grease on the floor. You will not slip while staying on that mat. By the way, derailing for a second. John says he was known as Felix the entire time he lived in L.A.
Oh.
Yeah, so like that's how ingrained the name is for him.
Well, guess who was just in L.A. In July?
This guy.
Kind of. I flew into LAX and then was in Anaheim, but still, right in that same area.
Yeah.
So, it's different monsters. There was somebody who was like obsessively posting messages or comments on my video, I think last year or the year before, like, where's the Phantom of the Opera? Where's the Phantom of the Opera? What happened to Phantom of the Opera? I'm like, why Phantom of the Opera? It's just so random. But we have a room for an area for Phantom of the Opera.
Hooray! Yeah, a lot of people. All right, so Phantom of the Opera is also a Universal movie, and a lot of people, for whatever reason, a lot of people gravitate on Phantom of the Opera in particular. I think it's the love story. But yeah, a lot of people like. They've seen all the movies. They've seen all the musicals. They've heard all the musicals and listened to all the soundtracks. So,
including the part where they stole a little bit of a Pink Floyd song.
Yes, that part too. Yeah, some parts of one of the songs from Phantom of the Opera like borrows the bass line from is it Echoes?
Yeah. If you ever listen to Echoes and like, hey, it sounds like Phantom of the Opera, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Andrew Lloyd Webber must have been a fan of that song, and he used it without asking. And Roger Waters was kind of annoyed, but then he's just like, whatever. You do that now, and people and lawyers would be crawling up. Even if the musician is okay with it, the label would be sending their sharks on you.
Yeah. So, Phenomenal Brandon says, love me some South Park. Also, I didn't realize all the monsters were friends. Now they're buddies that are roommates now?
Well, they are coming together to tear you apart.
Yeah.
They're frenemies.
That's actually the concept of Hotel Transylvania, is that like the monsters have been friends for thousands of years, and they all have kids, and they go to Drax's place like once a year for vacation.
Don't worry, John. I apparently can't say his name either, so we're
yeah. Oh, Phenomenal Brand says the reason why everyone gravitates for Phantom of the Opera is because he's got a cool mask. John says it's all about the sewers of Paris.
Oh yeah, who doesn't love sewers?
Oh, John apparently saw Phantom in London on stage. That's really cool.
I loved you in fandom.
You were the bomb at Phantom, yo.
Yeah. I thought that was a reference to Phantom Menace. I was like, I didn't know he was in Phantom Menace. Then I found out later, no, it was a movie called Phantoms.
Yeah, which was actually was pretty good, and he was the bomb in Phantoms.
Yeah.
He was like the best part of that movie.
Oh, so on stage, not like something like not just like randomly walking through London.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a Phantom of the Opera just walking through London, whatever, getting a Starbucks.
So John's explaining like why people like Phantom of the Opera,
Yeah.
The organ and the opera. There's a lot to it. So yeah, a lot. I think out of everything, like a lot of people gravitate toward Phantom the most. You're like you got your Frankenstein fans and your Wolfman fans and your monster fans in general, but like a lot of people get like super passionate about Phantom of the Opera.
It just seems weird to me, but whatever. The funny thing is, well, I don't. How do you guys feel about how they changed them to be like grittier and like bloodlusty and stuff? Because my understanding of the characters is that like back in the day they were just scary because they were scary looking. Like Frankenstein's monster is this giant thing. Like,
Fire bad.
And like was made up of parts of dead people and just like walked and lived and just that was scary enough.
Yeah.
And like Wolfman was part wolf and like he seemed intimidating and like that was it. And now they're like bloodlusty and want to like tear you to pieces.
Well, I think it's got to be adapted for modern horror and modern horror fans. Yeah. So they got to put some hardcore in it.
I don't know. I know it's their characters, but it's like it's not how the characters. It's not true to the characters. But the funny thing is, they have that, and then on top of the Monsters Cafe, well, Bone Chillers, mm-hmm. they're all civil and like, here's a menu, have some pizza. Which is always silly because the pizza's like this, and like it would be sliding off that.
Yeah.
And like. I don't know. I don't want Wolfman serving me pizza. I'd be pulling out like dog hair.
Yeah. So
sorry, Stella.
So John says, who doesn't love Bela Lugosi? And Phenomenal says, I think the Wolfman for her is the scariest. So yeah, it's all kinds of things. I'm also looking forward to Universal Monsters. I didn't quite make it in there, but yeah, Bela Lugosi was phenomenal as Dracula.
Well, Wolfman, it's not that big of a deal. You just have to throw him a bone. Big juicy steak, to throw it off to the side. He'll be distracted long enough to let you go.
But yeah, you're right. You have a very good point that when the Universal classic movies were made, it was like what, the 1930s, 1940s.
It was very early in the history of Universal Studios, which started. Universal Studios, the actual company, not the park, which started in 1912.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was the 30s, around the Depression, I believe, and that's what carried them through, and kept the company alive, long before The Boy Who Lived.
Yeah. So.
And cable TV wasn't even a thing yet, so no Comcast.
So John West has a good question. Wasn't the original Dracula a Universal film? Yes.
All of these monsters were originally Universal films.
Yeah, so Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, Creature from the Black Lagoon, those are all Universal movies, and they
I believe Phantom of the Opera was like a French film or something before. I don't believe it was originally Universal.
Oh, okay. All right. But
you guys in the chat can correct me, but I believe it was from a French play or a musical or something. It was adapted.
But yeah, so all the classic Universal monsters, they're all Universal movies that were big hits for their time and kept the company alive and got it money and so that's why it's Universal's monsters. So John says the visuals of the old ones all harken back to the German Expressionism. Okay, that's interesting. And after the horror of the First World War, yeah, that makes sense. I know Frankenstein was based on the Mary Shelley book. Dracula was based on the Bram Stoker book, I do believe, with some adaptations. So like it's not like, you know, the screenwriter like decided to, well, I'll make a living man out of like corpse parts. You know, like
living dead man.
Yeah, these are all like things that I believe originally books. And yeah, John makes a good point after the horror of the First World War. I remember someone explaining horror is a reflection of like what's going on at the time, which is why you had like at the time like there was like a lot of Japanese horror coming out. It's like what was going on in the country.
Yeah. And a lot of horror based on nuclear wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. Possibly like that's why like Godzilla like was a big thing.
Well, was.
Yeah.
That was a big concern.
Yeah.
Which it should be.
So, what do you think of the house overall?
And it's all right. I guess I should go through it again. I kind of was marathoning through them, so a couple of them kind of got squished together.
Yeah, sure.
As trying to separate them and like, oh yeah, the house is like this and that. So it was all right. It's not really my favorite by far. It's not up there with a house or something like that. But you know what? Anything else to say?
No. Let's go ahead and move on.
So it's not my favorite, which is Ghostbusters, but up there with Ghostbusters is another house.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are about to enter a world of darkness. A world where life and death are meaningless.
All right, so this is as I've said before, this is a horror movie that I actually watched, which helps me going through the house. That's one of, oh, hey, Duchess.
Oh, hi, Duchess. It's been a long time. How you been?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. You made it.
We're looking forward to seeing you in person, hopefully next month as well. So we are going through the houses. We just started on House of 1,000 Corpses. Which, again, is a movie that I saw back in the day, so I am familiar with it. It's been a few years, but like I know I recognize the scenes.
Yeah.
Before we even enter, which is starting a little bit of a discussion, is I missed this on preview night. It was there. I didn't see it, which is Bill and Ted's Phone Booth. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So, what you see in the facade of the house is Captain Spaulding's Museums of Murder and Madmen. And all the things are there, like the sign, the green lights that he put up over the gas pumps. Like there's an ice machine. There's like, the signs that you'll see, like clean bathrooms and AC. And then it makes sense that it's going to be there, but there's a phone booth. And when you look at it for a second, you're like, wait a minute. Is that the Bill and Ted phone booth?
As soon as I saw it, I knew what
yeah,
it was.
And
I've had the privilege of actually walking up to and touching the phone booth.
By the way, there's a comment that you seem to be going off mic.
Oh.
Let us know if the audio gets better, guys, okay?
So, okay. Good, go ahead.
Okay, so that was very exciting to see. For people who are not familiar with Horror Nights, we had a show called Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. It had been going since 1992 all the way to 2017. Every year.
Yep.
It was always a little bit different because it was making fun of the pop culture of the year. So like every year was a little bit different, but it was like Bill and Ted. It was a fan favorite, and for reasons that I've heard several reasons, but they had to stop doing the show. Nobody's really happy that it's gone, but
Well, apparently some people are.
Really?
Yeah, like some people I worked with last night were like, thankfully Bill and Ted. I'm like, what? Why?
No, I highly disagree. Like, Bill and Ted was a highlight of Horror Nights. Like any
Unless
year.
there was a presidential election that year.
Oh yeah.
Somehow it never worked out very well during that time. I don't know why.
No, don't worry, John. You didn't distract. Like it's better that someone says like the audio is going out. So
yeah, I know. I don't understand why it would be, because maybe the microphone was falling in the shirt.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, while I was fixing this, I was hoping you would keep talking, because you were just like.
Oh, I was making sure you were okay. No,
like,
so
it's not making for a very interesting show, Brian.
Sorry, I got distracted. So where the house actually is pretty much parallel to where the Bill and Ted show used to be, which is now Academy of Villains. So it makes sense that it's there, and it also makes sense that it's there because it's an outside facade. But seeing that is like a big Easter egg.
Yeah.
And it's something for the fans.
And in a sense, it's not an Easter egg because it's right in your face. A lot of them are more subtle, though I did miss it. But there's several theories. Mine is just like they reuse props all the time.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
One of the people who we see in the park said that, I think jokingly, is like, well, that must prove that Bill and Ted are dead because
they went to Spalding's. Yeah. And they were joking because like it. I mean, yeah.
The other theory is maybe it's an Easter egg for next year.
Possibly. I mean, next year is the 30th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
That doesn't prove anything.
It's possible that the Academy has a 5-year contract and they might be back. Which would make it hard for Bill and Ted to come back, but we don't know about the contract and things like that. People believe that the show's Bill and Ted is coming back, mostly because they wanted to.
Yeah.
But Bill and Ted's been gone from Hollywood for a long time, and it hasn't come back there. So, but I don't know Hollywood like I know Orlando, so. I don't know if I think they might have gotten rid of the space that they used to have the show. They might not have a venue. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
so we'll see. We'll see. But regardless, it's a very heartwarming Easter egg. It made me happy.
Yeah. So really quickly, 2 things to Dutch's. Sorry for starting late. I had a crown that came off yesterday. So I had to go to the dentist for an emergency trip to get that put back on, because that was tons of fun, I'll tell you. Also, Apple had their big announcement of the new Apple Watch, the new iPhone, new iPad, new things, and I wanted to watch that. So also, I was hoping that Brett could join us. So for those reasons and others, we did start a little bit later today. In 2 weeks, hopefully we'll be live again, and we'll try to go back to 5 o'clock. The tricky part is, like, for you, it's later, but I believe who is it who joins us from Australia?
Oh,
for him,
it's early in the morning.
It's early in the morning, so it's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll try to be back at 5. Yep. Phenomenal says, had dental work done and then ate a cotton candy bar. That's hardcore, man.
Yeah.
So luckily the cement.
Bodie 62 is the Aussie.
Oh, thank you, Brandy. As Brian will tell you, I'm terrible with remembering names. So the other thing is, now that you're here, Duchess, will you accept the role of being our other moderator, which I've been wanting to ask you?
She did warn that she's falling asleep because it's very late, but
yeah. I mean, once I sign it, like, it could be, it's ongoing. So
yeah.
As I said before, if you missed it, it's an option, but it's not an obligation.
Yeah. And you won't hurt our feelings if you say no.
And like even if you aren't like actively watching the chat or whatever, just to have the power. It's just, if you happen to see something like we saw earlier, so you don't have to answer right now. Just wanted to ask you before you drifted off, and you can answer in a comment later.
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
So, back to how. It's like, oh, we're done with House of 1,000 Corpses. Now we haven't even gone inside the house yet.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. I like well, let's start with the exit, I guess. In the movie, now this is again why I shouldn't watch horror movies. One of the victims is downstairs in like a cellar, and I think it starts off there. She escapes, and there's like a tunnel that they dug out, which I believe is the same tunnel that they escape in the Devil's Rejects. Didn't you tell me that?
Oh yes, it is. Yeah.
That the police finally come with more than 2 people and raid the house, and that's how they get out. So she gets out through that tunnel and somehow outruns the goons and flags down a random car, which turns out to be not so random, and she ends up back in the house with the doctor, that guy with the mask.
Dr. Satan.
And see, my problem is when she was escaping, I was hoping she would get out and find help, but doesn't happen.
No.
But when you're in the house, you escape the house through that same underground tunnel, which is really cool.
Yeah. It's all part of the movie. It's like all the other movies. You go through highlights of the movie, and the tunnel area is at the end of the movie. So Duchess Dave is making you a mod right now. She did say
you have been knighted, or
you have been
or something.
Yeah, you have been wrenched. You have been wrenchinated. You have been bestowed the power of the wrench. Thank you.
I figured you would agree, but I just, formalities. I wanted to ask.
I personally like this house a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. The Otis wearing the first rule of Wrench Club is
you do not talk about Wrench Club. So yeah. So again, iconic scenes.
Yeah.
One of the iconic scenes, which I don't know, it's kind of weird, is there's a apparently sometime in the timeline of the movie, I guess a car or a van of cheerleaders goes by. If you're not familiar with the movie, what they seem to do, I don't know where they get all these tires. They put like nails or something out into the road where people drive by, and they got a flat tire, and they're out in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, "Oh, hey, come in here. We'll fix your tires and get you back on the road." And then, at least the one time they showed us, they fixed the tires, and they started to leave, and they got to the gate. The gate was closed, and then all the monsters came out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a scene where there are a bunch of captured cheerleaders, and this is when they actually had somehow the police ended up coming out there with 2 different officers, and one was in the house talking to
the mom there, mother. Well, the mother character, I forget her name right now.
And then the other officer was snooping around the property and came up and opened a shed door and found all the cheerleaders like gagged or whatever.
Some were dead. Some are dead.
And in one of those scenes where, like, I'm sure if any members of law enforcement are watching or were watching that movie, probably would have said, yeah, police officer would not do something that dumb. But In the movie, he decided to shout over the radio to his partner exactly what was happening.
So the officer, who was actually the sheriff, or deputy sheriff, gets killed by the mother, and then the other officer gets killed by Otis.
Another scene where the officer was armed, and Otis was the one who killed him. The officer drops his weapon first.
Yeah.
And gets down on his knees, and there's a really big revealing shot, and he just shoots the cop anyway.
Yeah.
Not being a cop myself, but I would assume that the officer would demand that that he would drop his weapon first instead of the officer dropping his weapon. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It just seems like a bad move.
Otis did kind of get the drop on him because they opened the door, then they were distracted by the sight, and then Otis happened to come upon them and got the drop on him. So I think that's.
But he was outside at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like not the brightest move. But, sometimes in movies, characters have to do dumb things to get what you want in the movie.
Now with the other guy, the mother was kind of flirt with him and like, oh, big officer is here to protect me, and she distracts him.
I think their plan was to just like show them, hey, nothing to see here, go bye.
Yeah.
And then the guy had to call in, and then they knew.
Yeah.
They knew that they knew too much, and they couldn't let him off property.
Yeah. That's what happened.
Like the smart thing would be to go to the car and call backup or something.
Yeah, but I think this house is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It takes you through the movie, which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of White Zombie and of Rob Zombie. He had been working on this movie for years. It was around the time like White Zombie had pretty much broken up, and he started working on movies. This was the first movie he ever made. It took him years to complete and get released. I think it's a lot of fun. It's got some weird editing, like technical, like stuff going on in it. Kind of like music video-ish.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't really like the movie, but like I think it's a lot of fun. It gets a little weird and crazy, which I like in my horror movies.
You want to get crazy? Let's get crazy.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
No, if you want to get crazy, we can get crazy, and that's from us.
Yeah. It was a little mixture of that. And,
yeah.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
From 89 Batman.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of the movie, I definitely recommend going in. If you're just kind of curious, this is one of the more kooky houses, I would say. It comes from a kooky movie, so it's kind of like Us, where it's how it's in the movie, and Otis like reciting a lot of lines.
Yeah,
it's a little more in your face, scary. Like the first thing you see is like Captain Spaulding behind the counter in the museum,
which I think could have been cast better, but again, they're limited by who auditions. So,
I know both the. I saw the other cast, I think, but like both of them do a really good job.
I think if you weren't in Clowns, which works better, do you think you could have been Captain Otis?
You mean Captain Spaulding?
Spaulding.
Maybe I would have had to grow a beard.
Well, no, you can add beards.
Maybe. I mean, that's possible. I might have been in House of 1000. It's possible.
I think it could fit the character.
Oh yeah. So Phenomenal actually has two comments. I forgot to read one.
Oopsie.
She thinks that there's a reboot for Bill and Ted in the works. I think it's going to be Bill and Ted 3.
Well, it is in the works. They've already officially confirmed it.
Okay.
Which I always thought, cool, a new Bill and Ted movie is going to come out that should reinnovate. That's not the word I was looking for. bring interest back to Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Those of us who love Bill and Ted will have been going already, but people who weren't born yet or kind of lost interest, it should be a big boost for the movie, for the show.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite work out that way.
And then Brady also says, I'm sad the release for 3 from Hell is going to be so limited. Only 3 weekdays, Monday through Wednesday next week. Yeah. So 3 from Hell is the sequel to The Devil's Reject, which makes...
oh, I didn't know there was another one.
Yeah, so it's House of a Thousand Corpses, and then The Devil's Reject, which is a direct sequel, and then 3 from Hell, which is... it's only going to be in theaters like 3 days.
That's weird.
Yeah, it happened with the last movie too. Like Rob Zombie did another movie called 31, which has nothing to do with the Devil's Rejects trilogy, but
does it have to do with Halloween?
Yeah. It's kind of Purge sort of thing. It takes place on Halloween, and it's these rich people who they kidnap some people and then they send them through a gauntlet of like crazy killers.
Ooh, gauntlet.
And they make bets on who's going to live and who's going to die and who's going to kill who.
Oh, hey, Alan.
Oh, Alan McGuire. What house is your favorite this year? All right, so mine is House of a Thousand Corpses.
Which I kind of was expecting, and mine is Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And actually, quick side note, one of the people who work in a different department at Universal said that he actually won a spot in an RIP tour and an incentive. I'm like, wow, I wish our department could have had that kind of funds.
If you get Scare Actor of the Week, no, if you get Performer of the Week, you spin a wheel.
Yeah.
And one of them, is an RIP tour.
Nice.
Of
course, it helps to, be a Scare Actor first.
Yeah. and then you gotta get a lucky spin on the wheel.
Yeah.
But like, and if you don't like your prize, you can turn in for an applause buck or something.
Yeah. Wow. So instead of like a super expensive tour, how about $5 from Neil?
Well, no, there's other prizes. Like one is like I forget what they are, but like some of them are like kind of cool. Some of them are like maybe, and if you don't like it for whatever reason, you can turn it in and get something else.
So I like the scene with the Dr. Satan with the oxygen mask.
Yeah.
And it has the whole like contraption. They did a really good job of recreating that. Well, also I'm sure that was probably one of those things like in movies where it was like a 5-hour sit in a chair makeup job, and obviously a Scare Actor has to get in and out all night long for breaks and stuff like that. So they did a good job with that.
Yeah.
There's the Fishman corpse in the movie as well.
Yeah.
The iconic scene, including the audio, "Who's Your Daddy?"
Yeah.
Which is in there. But that just gets back to that whole thing with me, that like why I don't like to watch horror movies. Like, there's a scene where they're cutting someone's head and like tearing the hair and the skin. Like, it just doesn't seem. I just find it kind of disturbing, I guess, that people want to see things like that. I don't understand that.
All right. So
like
even
that
though
just seems awful, like that's an awful thing to see. It's an awful thing to do. It's just awful.
So I will say, as a fan of the movie and a fan of horror, and even though I think that House of a Thousand Corpses is a lot of fun, I didn't like that scene either.
Like, that's just an awful thing to do.
Well, especially like with this character, the character was cool. The character was like a horror fan. He's the one who, so the reason these people are out here is it's around Halloween, and one of them is a writer, and one of them is a horror fan. So like they work together to find like these weird, like tourist like horror attractions, and Dr. Spaulding's Museum of Murder and Madmen is one of them. And so they go there, and they don't know anything about the Firefly family. They've got no idea. They've got no idea about the missing cheerleaders or the corpses or anything.
Yeah.
They just want to see this museum, and so they're asking Captain Spaulding some questions while he's at work. And he gets a little annoyed with them. So he like kind of like, you know, gets a little snarly, and he messes with them a little bit. He starts yelling at the one guy, like, you know, doing the interview, and he's like, I'm really not trying to make fun of you. I'm really interested in this. And he goes, gotcha. And so they go on the murder ride, and, you know, they learn about some serial killers, and they learn about Dr. Satan, who got lynched and hung from a tree. And Captain Spaulding points out, now that tree ain't but a stone's throw away from where your butts are sitting right now. And so they decide, they leave. The one guy is all excited and wants to go find the actual tree. So that's when they run into the Firefly family, and that's when the trouble happens. The Firefly family actually is kind of nice to them at first and like puts on a little show for them, but like one of the women gets mad at Baby, and that's when things just start going wrong, and Baby kills him. And I felt sad because I liked his character. I thought he was cool, and yeah, she like scalps him, and yeah, the whole thing. And yeah, it's not a nice, it's an awful thing to do, but these are psychotic people.
Yeah.
They're insane and they're murderous.
It just makes me wonder about like the people who like seeing that too.
Well,
because I don't know.
You
I just saw the movie kind of because I wanted to see the DVD, because the DVD apparently like they did some really cool stuff with that. I'm like, well, I rented the movie, I guess I'll watch it. And
yeah,
after
sure.
I'm like, why did I do that? So yeah, I didn't see the Devil's Reject. So I'm like, more of that? No, thank you. To Alan's question, I am not working as a scare actor this year. I tried, but certain things kept me from being able to audition early enough, which may or may not have led to me not getting cast. There are many factors that go into that, and they give zero feedback after the answer is no.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
The answer is no, and there's the way out, which at that point I said, no, actually I have a team member. I'm going to go to Bistro. I'm like, okay, bye. Yeah. And like that was it.
Yeah. But they never, they'll never tell you like what, I mean, it's based on typecast and body types, so really they just didn't need, you know. Yeah.
But also I was very restrictive of my schedule. Because I was trying to have open time, a lot of open days that might have caused a problem or maybe didn't, because I don't know. So I am working in the department that works the Stay and Scream, Resort Priority, and the well, I guess that's I think there's there's no. Strangely, and I don't know why they did this, there's no special area this year for annual pass holders the first few weekends, which is a bummer.
Yeah, they didn't do that this year. I think because they're doing the Scream early, I guess.
I don't know. I asked at pre-shift, and they didn't know either. So, yeah. Which is a bummer because we like doing that.
Yeah, we did.
So really, mostly those two things. When if you go to a Stay and Scream area, as Duchess and I did last year, the people who scan your tickets in, well, actually, it's admissions, but everyone else wearing the orange shirts, although everybody wears orange shirts, it's kind of hard to tell, that hold the area, and like when the area is released, direct people, please go this way to the house. Like things like that is what I'll be doing for Horror Nights. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be any more directly involved with Horror Nights this year. So come next year's audition window, I'll try again.
Yeah. Now if you're curious, Alan, I'm in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm Officer Mooney. I'm cast A, so if you come in my house first or one of my cast, you'll see me. I'm the, well... Should I say it again? Yeah, I suppose. I'm the puppet scene for Officer Mooney. So, don't worry, Dave. All I want to do is kill you. And then Brandy also says, I think you would have been a good fit for Captain Spaulding. That was actually a guess that she had. So cool. Thank you.
I can see it.
Yeah.
which also would have been a good movie, but I think what you ended up with works better.
Yeah, yeah.
The power of the shirt rules all.
And
Now,
the thing I just kind of bought this like just because I like the movie.
Yeah.
This has paid off so much.
It's too bad you guys didn't. If it's true that the creators of Killer Clowns was there, it's too bad he didn't they didn't come in and meet with the scare actors.
They might have. Well, I'm not sure. I'll ask.
Oh, that's true. You weren't working that night.
Yeah, I'll ask the other cast.
I don't think they did, but that would have been pretty neat.
Yeah.
But that's like last year. They had 2 years ago. Ash versus Evil Dead. I don't understand. Bruce Campbell was very, very, very close to Universal, and it's not like he's a big A-list movie star. He didn't come to the house. He didn't walk the house. I don't understand.
All?
From my understanding, he didn't come at all.
But was he in Florida?
I just said he was in Orlando, very close to Universal. And he didn't bother to come look at that, go through the house.
It's possible he was doing a gig for something and just couldn't.
I don't know. It just seems like without Evil Dead, he wouldn't have a career. But
yeah, I mean, there's maybe some reason he might have wanted to, or I don't know.
I don't know. It just seems like I'm a big star. I can't be bothered with that, but he isn't. So I don't know. Stay and Scream. There are 2 areas, and the one we don't talk about. There's the New York, which we call Delancey, because it used to be just that street when it first started.
Mm-hmm.
It has become what I call a little bit of a nod to Killer Clowns, Delancosaurus, because it is now pretty much the entirety of New York, which is good in a way because you might remember in the past you had to take a ticket if you want to go use the restroom to prove that you were already in the holding area.
Uh-huh.
Well, now that the holding area has become all the way out to Statue, that includes all the way to Louis, that includes the Gotham Ice Company restrooms. So now you don't even have to leave the area to get into to use the restrooms. The bummer is you have to go all the way around to Starbucks. If you're over by Race to New York or the Mummy, you have to go all the way around to the other side. Hopefully they're going to work on that because it's a brand new area. I know as team members, we've said that it would be nice to see if people could scan in on the Monsters Cafe side if they had 1 or 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
That suggestions has been put in by a bunch of us because like I should say, we love our pass holders, but we've been fans of Universal and fans of Halloween Horror Nights long before being team members, so we know it's like I can picture myself being upset about that. No one's really had an attitude, but it's just unfortunate that you can't walk through New York to get around to it. So we'll see. That is the 2 houses for I don't know the Springfield ones.
It's should be House of 1,000 and either Nightingales or no. If it's Springfield, it's House of 1,000 and what's on the other side?
So it's not the 2 spunk tents.
Maybe it is, but you're way over.
Because it's Depths of Fear
and Nightingales.
Yeah. So the 2 houses in Delancosaurus are Ghostbusters and oh my gosh, I just forgot. Stranger Things.
Yeah.
The 2 big ones.
Yeah.
This year.
Now,
so if you want to go to those houses, those are the best places. But because it's so enormous, which is fueled by that Scream Early $25 ticket, which means there are even more people in that area. The more relaxed area is over Springfield, and some of the houses over there don't have as much wait time. So it's a little bit of you're opinion, your choice. I say go back to the back of the park and stay in the Springfield area. It's not as crowded. Do those houses first, get them out of the way, and then go to the front of the park. Now, I was speaking with a guest who's like, well, if I do that, by the time I get over to the other houses, the wait times will be really big. I'm like, well, okay, but you either have long wait times and then go through a bunch of houses, or you have long wait times or short wait times in the front of the park, and then the houses that don't have long wait times, by the time you get to them, there'll be long wait times as well.
Yeah.
So it's a balance. There's no perfect solution except Universal Express.
Yeah. Now, if you do stay in Delantosaurus, there are people holding signs that say this way for Ghostbusters, this way for Stranger Things.
There's two separate lines with a barricade line in between.
Now, I will tell you, I went to Delantosaurus and I went to Stranger Things first. And then I did some other things. By the time I got to House of a Thousand Corpses, there was a 70-minute. So it is kind of like what's the better move? Yeah, you could. Maybe if I knocked out those back houses first, I might have seen a 6th house that night.
Yeah.
But you never know.
The best thing is to get Express.
Yeah. Which is expensive, but definitely worth it.
I used to think it was silly because people would say, "Oh, well, I'm in the Stay and Scream area, so when it gets released, I go right into the house and I don't have to wait." I'm like,
yes, you do.
But how long were you waiting to not wait?
Yeah. So also keep that in mind that you're waiting in the waiting area, and then when I went to Stranger Things first, we did have a pretty solid line as well.
But last year I did get to the Stay and Scream area really early, and I was like right in the front of the line for Stranger Things and went right through.
Yeah.
But then I realized it's kind of true, because all that time you're waiting in the Stay and Scream area, it's like free time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are waiting and you're going to wait in the queue, but if you're not in the Stay and Scream area, all that time you're waiting is eating into your Halloween Horror Nights time.
Yeah.
You're in the Stay and Scream area, you're putting in the time waiting, but it's before the clock starts for that night of Horror Nights.
Yeah, so
you're waiting externally, so it gives you the rest, that 2 hours that you would be waiting in line during the event to do something else.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's all personal preference.
And also just keep in mind, if you do Stay and Scream, you're missing opening ceremonies over at the gate.
Yeah. And then there's the other one over by Hello Kitty, which we really discourage people from waiting in. But you can get in line from there best to Killer Clowns. Just be aware that it does not open at the same time as the Stay and Scream access houses, but you, again, can be in the front of the line for that queue for when the house opens up. And there's another bonus for staying in that area, because you are one of the first people in the queue for Killer Clowns. Guess what? You get to see that guy because it'll be Castet.
And we also do a parade, but before park open. So if you're at gates, you'll kind of see it. If you're at what's the name of that side gate? Over by Rocket.
I don't know if there is a name for it. I just call it the side gate. Some people call it the Blue Man Gate.
Okay, well, if you're over by Blue Man Group, that's
hidden. Or the hidden entrance.
The hidden entrance. You'll see us come out, and if you're at Hello Kitty, you'll see us parade.
That side gate this year is for resort priority. So if you have, what that means is if you're staying on site and you have a Horror Nights ticket, you can stay there. And I believe that area releases before everybody else. So it's the Stay and Scream areas, and then I believe resort priority, and then everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you obviously need a ticket. And then the other area is for the Scare Active Dining experience.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to going to this character dining experience, you go over by Blue Man Group, Hard Rock, and then there's somebody in the department I work who will sort you. There's signs too, so that's the other place you go. So I believe, getting back to the list, I believe that is all for how the House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, we can move on.
So I thought that was a little strange, but you know what's even stranger? So what season are they on right now with Stranger Things?
The actual season, I think they're... I'm not sure. I don't follow the show. I want to say it's season 3.
So I didn't know. I don't know if it's coming back next year or not, but So my note is Stranger Things. It's back.
Well, I think it's a little more intense than last year.
Still, back up.
But if you went through the house last year, it's about the same.
Say hi,
it covers seasons 2 and 3 of the show. And you're in the Upside Down. You will see you'll see a lot of things. You'll see the Demogorgon. You'll see some Demogorgon dogs. You see the guys in the hazmat suits. You'll see 11 fighting with the Demogorgon, the whole thing. Which
is one of the last final scenes in last year's house, but it was just a room you walked past that had a figure of 11 and the Demi Moore as a statue or a figure or whatever. This time you walk through that room and they're both scare actors.
All right, so yes, Stranger Things is officially on season 3. It started on July 4th, 2019.
Okay, so the house is the current season.
Yes, and if you're caught up with the show, then you'll definitely know what's going on.
Yep. Which I'm not, because I've never watched it.
I never did either. That's why I wanted to do this first. It was a little low on my list on priority wise. So, and I knew it was going to be real busy, so I was like, well, I'll see that first. So, yeah, and Phenomenal Brand just confirmed season 3 came out in July.
All right, cool. Once again, someone was saying that like they spend a lot of money on big sets and big budget on making this show come to life in the house, which really is something you could say about pretty much every house in Halloween Horror Nights. The amazing the amount of detail in building and also what they include in all the houses, even the less awesome ones. It's always just amazing what they put in. Yeah. And this is another example of that.
Now, not even being a fan of the show, I had a good time in the house. I thought it was well done. I especially like the area where you're going and the alarm is going off.
Yeah.
And I've always liked the flashing lights and the chaos of Horror Night houses. So, even if you're like me, you've never seen the show, or like you barely know anything about the show, like you'll have a good time in there. I had a good time. So Alan McGuire has an interesting question. Since this is Michaelo's last HHN, what do you think they would do for Halloween Horror Nights 30, the big 30?
I don't know.
Well, I would imagine since they work on it year round,
it's actually even more than that. They've started 30 before 29 even started.
Mm-hmm. Now, those of you who don't know, Mike Aiello is the senior director of entertainment.
He's kind of a celebrity around here.
Yeah. He's a big name. He's heavily involved with Horror Nights. He's a big fan of Horror Nights. And he is now senior director of the new park that they're building. So he can't be as heavily involved with Horror Nights anymore. And he's had to... he's announced it over Twitter, and he's had to say goodbye. And
which is sad, but also exciting and great for him that Universal continues to think so highly of him. That that they feel like those are the right hands to put that project in. Yeah, because that's a pretty big deal for Universal. Some would even say epic. So, my question, I wonder if he'll stay there for indefinitely, or in maybe 3 or 4 years, once it's up and running and going, if he'll have the chance to come back to Horror Nights.
Maybe, we'll see.
Obviously, he's not staying away from Horror Nights. I'm sure that I couldn't imagine that he wouldn't be able to do the executive walkthrough every year. Yeah. As long as he's an executive in the company, and obviously he'll come to visit Horror Nights. He'll still be as involved as possible. Mm-hmm. But it's a giant project, and they wanted somebody who has a great track record and has been with the company for a long time, and it's sad for him, I'm sure, but also a great honor. So
yeah. Now I would think. Because they work on it all year and they're pretty forward thinking, that he's probably got a few things in motion, or he at least got started in motion that the other people on the team are going to have to carry now, and who knows, but they might give him a tribute somehow, some way within 30. Yeah. He might have
his own Easter egg.
Yeah.
And he started as a scare actor.
That's true. I remember he said he was the captain on the...
I am the captain now.
In Frightanic.
That says Frightanic, yeah.
Yeah, he was the captain steering the boat.
And he was also in Meets.
Yeah, that's right. If you've ever seen the Meets promo, that's him as Samuel Meets.
And of course, he was heavily involved in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter as well.
Yes, and the Cinematic Spectacular, like he helped bring that to life. Yeah. So, like, he's kind of all over the park. Like, if you know who he is and you know what he's done, then you're like, oh.
That's why I was a little bummed that you didn't want to. But the sad thing about the end of Bill and Ted was we had a special viewing for team members that. He came out on stage with one or two other people, and he stuck around after the show, and I'm like, well, I've been wanting to meet this dude for a long time, and this is probably my only chance. So I came down just to say hi, and I was hoping you would join me, but you didn't want to.
Well, he got immediately swamped,
But that was probably maybe not, but that could have been your only chance too.
Well, I have met him. Oh,
you have?
Yeah, so...
no, that was just me then.
Yeah.
We could have come up and done the Wayne and Garth. We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Yeah. But I have met him since that night, so... I felt bad because, like, he got immediately swamped and just, like, surrounded by team members. Understandably so, like...
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I was like, I know he's swamped, but I don't know if I'll ever get a chance again, and I would be really regretting not taking advantage of it if I did. But Brandy said he has a Easter egg in the tribute shop.
Do you know what it is, Brandy, or can you point it out? Because
there's a lot of stuff in there, so I might have missed it.
Yeah. Please mention a comment about what exactly it is, so we can all look for it. But I think he's got some things that he set in motion for 30. He must have.
Yeah. And if not, it's going to be a lot of things in 30 that he was involved with originally.
Yeah, sure. So I've got high hopes for 30. I think it's going to be, if it's anything like it was for 20, it's going to be a great year.
25.
I mean 25. But I think even 20 was a little bit stronger. It's going to be a great year, and I think we're all in safe hands. Like I know like the rest of the team is very passionate about Horror Nights as well. And it makes me feel better about Epic Universe that he's going to be senior director now.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to be really good now.
So speaking of Easter eggs.
Ah, alrighty.
I have 2 Kinder Joy monster eggs here.
Alrighty.
So I can't choose because there's two of my favorite colors here. Do you want? Now I don't know if that is like a girl's toy or not. Probably not.
It does look female, the curl and the eyelash.
But
so.
that just might be the character. So
Yeah.
do you want purple or green?
I'm gonna choose green.
Okay.
So.
And so these are, if you're not familiar, there's something called the Kinder Surprise, I believe, that's banned in the U.S. So this is another version from the same company, which is 2 halves.
All right.
One is the chocolate goodie, and then one is a surprise toy. Now I like to eat the chocolatey yummies and leave the surprise.
All right. A little backwards, but okay.
So do you think there's an advertisement for Leo's movie? All right, well, that's up near the Ghostbusters invoices. All right, well, I'll have to check.
Oh. All right. Cool.
Oh, moving service.
It's interesting. I have this moving service.
As he's moving.
Oh,
Even
get
though
it?
he's not moving.
Yeah. They did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking to myself, like, was there a house, like, with moving or, like, something? And then, yeah, you got the joke, like, because he's moving, yeah. Or moving rolls, really.
Maybe it would have been a little too obvious if they had Leo's epic moving service. So yeah, so it's this 2 different types of chocolate and like those little chocolate balls.
Yeah. So these are pretty tasty on their own.
Real thick.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dave. Are you ready for the toy? I mean, the surprise?
And oh, it's another freezer doll. Now,
Wait, but look, I got your character.
oh yeah.
No, see, like, where's your thing?
Now, what I don't like about these is a lot of them. Oh, okay, this one's obvious. Well, first you can rotate its head, but this one glows in the dark. But sometimes these the sheets that come with it aren't really very descriptive, and it doesn't really. I think it doesn't really explain it very well, but this one's pretty obvious.
So looks like if you put mine out in sunlight, it changes color.
All right, so
it gets darker. So right now it's a kind of pale purple, and if it goes out in sunlight, it gets more dark. It gets like a suntan.
Oh, okay.
So that's cool. Do the overhead again.
Oh, it's upside down, but
I see you. I salute you.
it's also very, 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 very blurry. Here's my character. See?
But This is the character that he had on
but okay.
on his cover. Where'd the covers go?
The cover?
They showed the character. Oh, this. So give me your egg. No, the egg.
Oh. Oh yeah. No, wrong one.
So this was his. Do overhead. So this was his, but this is the toy I got out of green.
You do know you're showing that upside down, right?
I mean, this is the toy I got out of green. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So mine, you can click the head around, and if you take it out in sunlight, she gets a suntan. That's cool.
Yep. And then the one I have, if it gets lighter when it gets cold, so it's the opposite effect. So, just thought it'd be kind of fun to do a monster unveil, see what toys we get.
And thank you, Dave.
So now, on to the houses which are IP, which don't have videos for them. So first we have Nightingales, The Blood Pit. This is a really cool facade.
Oh yeah,
It's like a big sandbox.
Yeah.
And I guess I forgot to ask, but I guess my vocals must be. I mean, my microphone must be okay because I haven't seen a follow-up comment for that.
How's the audio, everybody?
So this is the Nightingales again, which you've seen a few times in a different era, and it's a pretty cool lighting effect, I think, when you're standing in line for it. I don't think it's intentional, but the way the lights are and the fog, you get like a shadow cast around the pillars, and it just, I don't know, it looks kind of cool. It makes kind of a 3D effect. The Nightingales themselves, they look different than we've seen them before.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they transform based on what year or what era they're in.
Yeah.
They were posing as nurses the
Yeah.
first time we saw them.
Yeah, in
again,
World War I.
In 25, they were the same again. So, don't really have a whole lot about this house to say.
I think the era is
Thanks, Brandy.
Is a Roman gladiator era. So the facade is Roman pillars and like bust statues of like Roman emperors and leaders. So yeah, that's what Dave is talking about, and you see like you see a mixture. There's Romans who are like fighting and like very healthy, and Romans who are like trying to attack you, and Romans who are trying to warn you, and you see like Nightingales like trying to attack you and like feasting on like the corpses, and really cool house. And there's also a no that's something else. But this is a prequel house. Nightingale's Blood Prey was 21. Is that right? Yeah, I think 21.
Yeah.
That's World War I trenches. So same concept, different era, and a prequel since it's Roman times is before World War One.
Yeah.
But if you've been coming to Horror Nights for years, like we have, you should be looking forward to this. And this is a really good house. Over in Spruntense, so a little bit smaller, but like.
It's amazing what they fit in those headlights.
Oh, it doesn't feel that small. It like you'd think looking at those tents like you'd be in and out of there, but you're really not.
Interestingly enough, World War I is often written is often written with a Roman numeral.
Oh yes, it is. That is correct. World War I.
Yes. World War Z.
World War Z.
So, this is a little thing I found actually. I wanted to get it. I was looking at this at the Halloween Megastore before, and I'm like, I don't really have a use for it. It's cool, but I actually found it at Walmart for a lot less money. So
cool.
I'm like, I guess I'll try it.
Yeah, why not?
a little bubbly.
What do you guys think? Can you even see the fog that well?
You can every once in a while. I wish it produced a little more fog, but yeah, it's a lot cheaper than dry ice.
Yeah.
I know. I bought dry ice for my birthday cake, ice cream cake once, and it's like, well, I cannot believe how expensive this is. So, so apparently I have to do like this, but it's not working. Okay.
Ah.
So the next one is, sorry about that, I got a little bit goofed with that. So the next one is Depths of Fear. Oh, okay. Always a little learning curve. So Depths of Fear is the next one. It's all right.
I actually was very impressed with this house. Like I wasn't thinking much of this. I liked the Seeds of Extinction, but like I don't know. A lot of people like Seeds of Extinction. It just wasn't that great to me. It was like one of my all right houses. I was very impressed with Depths of Fear. Like I wasn't thinking much of it, but like, man, it's really cool in there. The masks are amazing. The concept is it's a undersea mining company that's gotten invaded by these undersea creatures. And also, like, you have 4 minutes to leave the facility before something. I think before
oh, there's a lizard in here.
Oh.
Okay, that's great.
I like the concept of the house. I like the intensity of the house. I like the fact that
yes, hi, Stella.
some of the characters are there to help you, and
Hi, Stella.
like to tell you, hey, get to the escape pods quick. I'll cover you.
And there is actually an escape pod you see in the house.
Yeah. Now, Brandy asked about the dog, and something that I apparently missed while going through the house, because someone else pointed out, like, oh, what did you think? Did you see the dog? I was like, what dog? Did you see the dog?
I don't remember one.
Yeah, so I didn't notice a dog either. So, Brandy, go ahead and explain what you're talking about. Because there is apparently a dog in there.
Stop. Yeah, I haven't gone through a second time yet, but I'm sure I will.
I think, from what I've heard, there's a
Stella's like, I smell water.
You smell water. There's water over there, Stella. There is not obviously real, but like a dead dog within the house.
Well, I know there's a dead horse in Nightingales.
Yeah, with a nightingale feasting on it.
Although some people do eat horse.
Yeah.
Ouch. After you eat horse, you can't talk very well.
Oh yeah.
Your voice is a little hoarse. Go ahead and get down, Stella.
I think this is the house. There's a kind of like a there's running water, like over a trowel. You can actually like dip your finger in there and like feel the water. Oh, okay. So
I wouldn't do that though, especially later in the run, because it's the same water, I'm sure, cycled through.
Yeah. So Brandy says, I haven't personally seen it either, but there's a dead, dying dog prop, and Twitter freaked out. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really like the dead horse either, but I was expecting it. Horse of some sort in a gladiator type.
Yeah. I personally didn't see the dog, so I'm not sure where it is in the house. I mean, look, it makes sense, you know. Yeah.
I don't know why a dog would be on a underwater mining craft, but
well, I think it's almost like a reference to Alien, where there was a cat on the spaceship.
Oh, that's a cat though.
Yeah. And the cat lives though. Yeah. People get passionate about pets.
Well, I mean, I could see that. If I was going out to space for years, then I would have a dog. But underwater mining, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Now, Brandy points out, scalping a guy in House of a Thousand Corpses is okay for Twitter, but not for a dead fake dog.
Well, apparently not for everybody, because we don't like it either.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's different. You know, a person, you know, but dogs are important.
Yeah, yeah. It's because dogs are unconditionally loving to you. You know, you go home, you have a bad day. They can sense moods.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, you had a bad day here. Let me give you some snuggles."
Yeah.
You know, like a human might not do that. Human would be like, "Well, you had a bad day. Well, I had a bad day. You want to hear my day?" Ugh.
Yeah.
Now a dog will be like, "Oh, you had a bad day. Here, take some snuggles."
Yeah.
And they can sense moods. Like you think a dog doesn't know what's going on. They do. They can sense mood. They can kind of understand you.
They can sense mood. They can sense food.
Oh yeah, they can. They're always sensing food. What? Hey, I heard a noise. Is it food time yet? Yeah. No, Marlo. But yeah, like yeah, a dead dog probably could like.
See, she came running.
Yeah. What, Marlo? What? What do you want? You heard a noise? It's not food time yet.
I hear food.
You hear? Is that what you hear, Marlo? Oh, yes. So yeah, it gets people upset because, like, especially dog owners, like, you know, get real passionate about dogs.
And maybe it was a service dog, and the person who's working down there needed a service dog.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
I don't know. Just a theory. Just a fan theory. Hashtag theory. So that I didn't really have a whole lot for depths of fear.
Phenomenal Brand, is it true? I don't know. I didn't personally see the dog. The person I was with, my friend of mine, said, "Brian, what do you think of the dog?" I was like, "What dog? I didn't see a dog."
Yeah.
So I apparently missed it in the house, and I was looking all over the place. I like paying attention to the house. So maybe I was looking in the wrong way somewhere. I don't know. How did he get underwater is the next question. Well, I would imagine he would be in the craft that goes down under the water to the mining facility.
Because that goes out like a mining company, kind of like James Cameron's movie.
The Abyss.
The Abyss.
Yeah.
That was my understanding.
No, I don't think there was an animal in the Abyss. But yeah, like the same.
Well, there was a rat.
Oh, a rat. Yeah, the same idea.
As far as the rig they go down, and that was an oil rig, but
yeah.
Same idea. So
I can't confirm the dead dog, but apparently it's there, and it might have been one of those things where it got removed, maybe.
I don't know. It just when I went through preview night, there was just so much to see. I just missed that one thing.
Yeah. But I definitely like the house. If you weren't sure about Depths of Fear, go ahead, still check it out. I think it's a really good house. I was impressed.
So then the next one is Yeti, which is a terror of the Yukon.
Oh yeah.
And I made sure to go through Yeti while carrying my Yeti. Of course, it's cold, as you expect.
Oh yeah, this is the cold house. Every year, or mostly every year, there's a house that's super chilly in there. This is definitely the cold house.
Interesting thing about that is that the victims are carrying around large shotguns, and apparently even shotguns aren't effective against the Yeti, which is pretty crazy because they do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah. Kind of Easter egg-ish. If you're a fan of Attack of the Swamp Yeti last year, these are the Yeti suits made white. I could tell. Seeing the Yeti suits up close as its character in Slaughter Cinema, and just going through the house, I was like, yeah, those are definitely Yeti suits.
Yeah, I wonder if, because the Attack of the Swamp Yeti, I think was one of my Roddy Paws thing.
Oh, it fell?
So much for that tape. Thanks, John. So, I don't know. It might have fallen down or something. But But yeah, it's I'm thinking that like, oh well, maybe Swamp Yeti did really well, so they decided to make it a larger house because it was a concept that they hadn't used before, I think in Slaughter Cinema, and of course this is a original house again this year. So, but there are a lot of the Yetis around.
Yeah. This is what the house that got me with the air effect. So you're looking at one Yeti, and then you feel a blast of air, and you look behind you. There's a logger or a camper, with a shotgun who just fired at the Yeti, and so that got me because like it's one of the distraction scares.
So not sure what else to say about that.
Just this house is very intense. If you've got any kind of a worry about Yetis,
isn't there one that's feasting on a deer?
That is in Nightingales.
Oh.
And by the way, that's another Easter egg.
That's a reused prop.
Yeah, that's from Horror Nights 23 when it was all Walking Dead out in the streets.
Yeah.
And there's a walker feasting.
Was in Central Park.
Yeah, Central Park. There's a walker feasting on a dead deer. That's back. So if you by the way, thank you because I want to remember that.
Yeah.
Easter egg hunters like you and me. I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's the deer from the Walking Dead zone.
Yeah, well, what I mean by the same as like the concept of you having a Yeti house, that just that alone.
Yeah.
It's very different otherwise.
Yeah.
But so the next one is just talk about. Yeah, I think. Oh. Carnival Games.
Yeah.
Which I guess don't even have notes for, or Graveyard Games.
Yeah.
There's a graveyard.
What happens in it, Dave?
They play games.
Oh yeah, and then what happens?
That's it.
What? That can't be it.
There really aren't games in there though. I was expecting something more like Carnival Graveyard last year, where like there would be the actual games. It's just a generic walkthrough of graveyard, and there are ghosts doing ghost things. You
weren't that impressed, I guess?
Not really.
Okay.
Maybe I need to go through it again, but.
Well, I think it's the concept is that. All right, I'll read the description for you. Graveyard Games. Enter cemetery at night where disrespectful teens have awakened vengeful spirits. Don't get caught dead here after dark. So, the concept as I understand it is like, there's kid graves and then there's like kids who come and visit the graves and they're very nice and respectful and the spirits there like them and protect them. And then like these crazy teens come by and cause a bunch of ruckus and, the spirits, so it's kids and ghosts versus, crazy teenagers is the concept that I got from this. So I'm looking forward to the house. Like, what's it like in there? Because I haven't been in there yet.
Graveyardy.
Is it like a lot of pale white colors and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it anything like Winter's Night, the Haunting of Hawthorne Cemetery, back in 21? That's that graveyard where there was the Weeping Angel.
Oh, I thought it was something else. Well, maybe it's Winter's Night. Something like that, I think.
Okay.
But so that 3 years later is our houses. So that brings us over to the scare zones, starting with scare zones. Vikings.
Yeah.
I guess actually though I was going to start with Zombieland. Double click.
Double tap, Dave.
All right. That one was not set properly. Whoops. So the this is the big New York scare zone. this year. I, as you saw, was not familiar with the movie at all. As I started going through there, I'm like, "Oh, I wonder what kind of scare zone this is," and people like, "Oh, it's the drop tower from Zombieville." I'm like, "Oh." So the drop tower, I don't know, does it have an actual name in the movie?
It does, but I don't remember what it is.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It increasing looks. It would have been done sooner, but we had that little hurricane scare, which could have been really bad if it came this way.
Yeah.
But now it was, as of Sunday night, it was almost completely finished with the lights that flash in the carnival ways. And what I actually asked one of the coordinators who works in the zone, I said that I've been calling the porta potties portaboos, and she's like, "Oh, I don't think anyone's been saying that officially in the department." I'm like, "Well, it's a porta potty and it's a boo hole, so it's a portaboo."
Portaboo.
If you join me for the live stream, we only caught one time that the scare actors poked out, and they were having either a cast change or issues with it because they didn't get to test it very much, I think. But yeah, I don't know why in the past I hadn't thought of going in live streaming. I think that's the plan for 30 is making sure I have the night off for opening night and just going right in. I might even do 2 streams for each one, like this is the house in the daytime, and then this is the house at night, so you can see more detail. But it's a cool way, obviously spoilers, but it's a cool way to see the zone. If 1, you're coming but you aren't coming yet, or 2, you just can't make it. Like we couldn't make it to Horror Nights 22, and all those years we wanted to go and didn't. Yeah. So, that especially that zone worked out extremely well as far as people who joined me in the chat and all that. And I was surprised when I looked at the chat afterwards that I don't think I missed any messages, which is good for 2 reasons. One is when we have the chat here, like the camera's over there, it's not moving. We're just talking. Yeah. And it's easier to focus on the chat. When I, go out with my phone, I'm holding it out. I'm looking around to find the next shot. I'm shooting. I'm trying to keep in focus, trying to bring things out in the light. And then there's also the chat. And being that I'm over 40 now, if I'm holding it, if I go like this, it's not very stable. If I go like this, it's more stable, but it's close to my face, and it looks blurry. So, you're old man here. I gotta hold it out and see your chat message, and then it disappears. But diminishing returns, as the cliche goes, because other scare zones after that. Not only did I get copyright claims on those other ones. Now, obviously the Rob Zombie, I wasn't expecting that. But I get revenue sharing for the other ones. But the view count dropped. But still, yeah, it was a pretty cool way of doing it. And I did have some issues with the internet because I had to watch my data usage, so it was only streamed over Wi-Fi. With so many people in the park, and it drops every once in a while. So as you saw, I had some, especially in an arcade, which we'll talk about later, it dropped the stream a bunch of times. But thanks for everybody who watched that stream over on the Orlandave channel. So the drop tower looks awesome. Zombie Kill the Week stage looks pretty cool. Their little stand where they come up and do the pounding on it, which we saw live, is pretty cool. The air horn is kind of annoying. I find it really annoying after a while. But the photo op is pretty cool. Yeah. That's something that they put in after preview night because they just didn't have enough time to build it. But I think I might know Brandy's favorite photo op coming up in another scare zone we'll talk about in a little bit. But there is a pretty cool one with the name of the movie and then the number 2 behind, which obviously, if you're coming, I definitely recommend you getting to the scare zones, especially if you can make it in September before the sun sets, so it's not as dark, unless that's what you want. But you know, at the phone, you need a good amount of light to get photos. And the pastry truck was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
With they added some snowballish treats to it, which is pretty cool.
And hearing For Whom the Bell Tolls in that zone, played pretty loud over the speakers is pretty awesome.
Somehow I didn't get a claim for that. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Oh. Or maybe it was. No, it was. That's right. It was Vanity Ball that did the best. But it did pretty well in the Zombieville. But yeah, wow. The first stream I did was Vanity Ball, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I was like, wow, lots of people showed up right away, which is pretty cool.
Cool.
Oh, that's weird. An arcade didn't get a notification for. Yeah, sure it might. Oh, is it falling again? Thank you. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I'll need to tape it next time. So yeah, it's pretty cool. What do you think about it?
I like the zone. I would say this is one of my favorite scare zones. I like the movie. I like how much is going on in the zone. This is a very busy zone. It feels kind of Vamp 85-ish with how much different things are going on.
A lot of interactivity with its characters.
Yeah. There's a Tallahassee running around. There's a couple of zombies running around, including reportedly, I've never seen this, but like there's a Bill Murray zombie somewhere in that zone.
I've seen the Charlie Chaplin one.
Oh, I did not see that.
I think there are 2 different ones for both casts.
So this is one of those zones where you could kind of watch and like always see something new going on. There's a fight that happens up on the drop tower stage.
Yeah.
I do know that those are stunt people. So like there's a lot of choreography and you know like it's a survivor battling off walkers, and yeah, I think this is a cool zone, and I'm not the biggest Metallica fan, but like they've got some good songs, and hearing For Whom the Bell Tolls in that zone is pretty nice.
That's one of the better songs.
Yeah.
Question, since you've seen the movie, the front for the tribute store, which is kind of funny, it only really made sense to call it that during 25, but is that, it looks like it's based on the movie, because it's a carnival amusement park style sign. Is that just theming, or did that come right out of the movie?
If it's from the movie, I don't recognize it, so I'm not sure. I don't believe it's from the movie, but I might be wrong there. It might just honestly be theming.
Because it does fit in with the zone.
Yeah, it does. I don't recognize it being from the movie, but that doesn't mean it's not. I just might not remember that.
Yeah. At some point, I do expect to get another microphone sort of like this. I just haven't, you know, one thing at a time. So I don't know why this is pulling down my shirt today and causing issues. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's a really cool zone, and it's got the lights up top. And the thing I was very upset about or disappointed with, is there's a screen. I don't know how that plays into the movie, that shows the different rules, but it's not a video projector. It's just it's just 3 different lights with gobos that alternate, and like that's it. It would look so much better as a video projection, but for some reason it isn't, and so it's limited to only 3 different things, like, which is like 3 of the rules, and apparently there's a lot of rules. So,
well, yeah. So the concept is that of the movie is that the zombie apocalypse has just happened. Like we never. I don't remember like what the reason is, but the main character played by Jesse Eisenberg has these rules for survival, and that's why he's still alive, even though he's not like that tough like Tallahassee is. He's very smart and has these rules, so it's kept him alive. And one of them is called double tap, where if you down a zombie, you gotta go shoot for the head just to make sure that they stay dead. Because an example is one lady downs a zombie and then like thinks he's dead and walks away, and he's not dead, so he gets up and
classic horror movie.
Yeah. So the double tap. Check bathrooms. Because like you know that's where you can be snuck up on. Buckle your safety belt. Know your way out. Always check your surroundings. Like don't just like walk into a place. Like make sure that things are clear. Yeah. So that's what those rules are for. It's the rules that's kept the survivors alive.
All right, so that is Zombieville, and now don't remember. I guess we're going around that way. The park. Let me just fix something here with scare zones. That's using the wrong. Oh yeah, Safari. Yeah. Go to Safari. Oh, come on. Is either the wrong source here, or I guess we'll go to Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe, because why not?
Why not?
Why not the Hellbilly? And that, of course, is.
Put the background back.
Let me put the background back.
There it goes.
Oh. Yeah. This program isn't as intuitive as I would like it to be. That is a zone that every time I went through, I'm like, okay, well that's it. That's all I can fit in here. It's a very tight space. Oh wait, there's a lot more. And as we were talking about in the past, the Dragula has appeared.
Mm-hmm. And that's a cool little photo op if you like. None of the characters go in the Dragula or go around the Dragula. So if you want to get a picture in the Dragula, then you can. It's not like you become character bait once you do.
And that's another one where I said you probably should go during the day if you can. Just for light, and there's the background, which seemed out of place until they put the what are we looking at?
It's a point I want to make.
Which is something that I was like, well, what is that? Until they put the car, and like, oh, I see, it's background for the photo. Mm-hmm. Also, there's a lot of skeletons and stuff, and of course the giant balls of fire that they come up from the album cover. Mm-hmm. You might, if you saw the tribute store walkthrough, you can actually buy the album with the spine of the skulls and all that stuff in there as well.
Cool.
So it's if you still have a use for CDs and you want to buy it, you can buy it.
Yeah. Now, so the zone is based on the music videos from the album Hellbilly Deluxe. And it's also the soundtrack of the zone. So Super Beast, Dragula, Living Dead Girl, and Spook Show Baby. Those are the songs that you will hear, and those are why you see those characters running around.
I told you before we got to that scare zone that I had a feeling that somebody would like that photo op.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My husband wants to take the Dracula photo for the Christmas card. Yeah.
We already knew you're awesome, but
yeah. So that's the soundtrack of the zone, is those 4 songs, and that's why you see those characters. They're from all the videos. The Living Dead girl is kind of obvious, like especially if you saw the video. Like there's the doctor with the Living Dead girl, and it even says behind them, Living Dead girl, and the zone is kind of cramped, just with all that stuff in there, and so it's more of a show than a scare zone. There's not, the characters aren't running around like really trying to scare you. They're kind of moving around purposely, which I think is on purpose, and kind of appreciated. It's kind of like a little break if you want. Like go there and listen to some Rob Zombie. Watch the show. There's some girls up on the tower, like kind of dancing sexily. So if you're into that, you can watch that too.
I forgot to mention it. Obviously, if you have the Scream Early ticket or the daytime ticket, it's also a great opportunity to get photos in those spots. Some of them, like there's a chair in the scare zone, which is a photo op, which is covered during the day. But I believe the Dracula is open during the that's partially covered as well. But the Zombieville Double Tap has a photo op, which at least during the day, I saw an official Universal photographer there. So if you buy a photo package, they'll use their camera and you can get a picture there, which you'll get a print or whatever.
That's cool.
I don't know if they do that anywhere else. Obviously, you can take a picture in front of the Killer Clowns truck, but without the clowns. But again, it's something you can do during the day. If you are coming during the day, it's something you might want to knock out, so you don't take up part of your Halloween Horror Nights time. So there's that too.
Phenomenal says the Living Dead girl casting and scene is awesome. They really nailed it. Yeah. I agree. It's like straight out of the music video.
Oh, and really briefly, they didn't get back to me. One of the comments on the Vanity Ball was that someone who knows the scare actor said that they liked my coverage of one of the scare actors, and it was her best friend, I think, was in that zone. Like, so I asked who it was, which character, but unfortunately I never got a reply.
Okay. But that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully they shared that link with whoever that scare actor was.
Yeah.
So
I've always been curious to see myself in a YouTube video for Halloween Horror Nights, but
you'd have to be in the streets.
Well,
or somebody doing what I used to do.
It's someone doing what you used to do, but I've never been on set. Like at the time.
Or an official walkthrough, official video promotional. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they project parts of music videos on the walls, which kind of feels like it's not that amazing, but kind of a wasted opportunity or use of a projector. But overall, it's a really cool zone.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of little details and different scenes from different songs from the album.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just gonna skip the rest of the images because it's causing me too many problems.
All right.
But jumping over back to Vanity Ball, which is something I wasn't sure about, but again, it goes along with what I was saying about like, well, why do people want to see things like this? But there are the too many stages. I finally got to see them. One, I only got to see one of them. One is like some sort of liposuction thing. I'll see it later on again next time I'm in the area. But the other one is a little bit of House on Haunted Hill, where they put someone in a chair, and then like they both cover up they stand in front of the scare actor, and while they're doing that, it like takes a scalpel around like the face, like around the face here, around the mouth, around the nose, around the eyes, and peels it off, and it's the skin from the person's face, and then you see like on the scare actor's face, it's like this blood and like exposed what's under the skin, and it's like, wow, that's pretty intense. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of nasty at the same time, but I don't think that, I think the person just came up on stage. They didn't, kind of like the scene with the director. Okay. Where the guy's like, ooh, pick me, and then he gets electrocuted. Yeah. And by the time he figures out what's going on, it's too late.
Yeah. So it's one of those, a scare actor in plain clothes meant to look like a guest. Yeah. Yeah.
Although, no, in this case, they already have like bandages on them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But it wasn't like, I thought they would have grabbed somebody and pulled them up on stage, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But it's better than I expected. A little bit like Vamp 55. The person, there's a runway and then like a tower on top with they go up and down, where there's two different people in two different casts who have a microphone and just talk, interacting with the crowd. Now this reminded me of Fright Nights. There was a zone in that same spot where someone walking around the stage with a microphone, like kind of taunting the crowd. So it kind of reminded me of that. One of them, at one point I heard from a distance, they said, thank you, you're welcome.
I do like, there's a part in that Fright Night scare zone where she makes him take an oath, and she says, I state your name, and the crowd goes, I state your name.
Yes. Everyone says that.
So Brandy asks, so it's like Operation from Chucky last year, but an actual operation.
Yeah, it's more intense than that. Yeah.
Well, kind of like plastic surgery, Brandy.
Yeah.
That's what the whole zone is based on. Is a lot of plastic surgery and I guess like plastic surgery addicts. You know, like
like that woman who turned herself into a cat.
Oh, okay.
You don't know about that?
No, I didn't see that.
Wow. One of the times she said, you are beautiful just the way you are, but you can look better. So I guess we should wrap it up at some point before your battery dies.
I'll just plug in. I'll be right back.
So there was, unfortunately, it's too late to see it. There was this amazing effect in fog that happened on preview night, because I think the banners or the curtains that they have hanging from the truss was still wrapped up from hurricane prep. And somehow one of the projections from one of the lights hit a plume of fog in some crazy way that made it look like a three-dimensional character floating in the middle of the street. And now that those curtains are in place, I don't think you'll see that ever again. At least not this year. Which is a bummer, because it looked, both Brett and I think saw it at the same time. We just stared and like, oh my gosh, how are they doing that? It looked amazing. And well, I haven't noticed at sideshows. I haven't seen them yet, but I've finally saw one of them. I don't think they were going yet on opening night, because a lot of people. I saw Kyle from View from the Cheap Seats, and I think he said he didn't see it, or maybe it might have been Jessica. Someone else said that they didn't see it, so they were thinking that it might not have been ready yet. But they are running now. So I don't know what else you want to say about? Oh, look, you're not here.
But I am, Dave. I'm right here.
But you're not. I'm looking right at the video. Is there anything else you want to say about this?
This is a very strong zone. Definitely, if you've got some time, hang around in here because it's kind of like Zombieland where there's a lot to see.
And also, again with the scare actor with the microphone, they just go on and on about Stella, saying a lot of different cool things that you might want to stick around. It's a little bit like Chucky's zone, except I found that if you sit in that zone last year, it got repetitive very quickly. So they might repeat things, but I don't think it's as much. They kind of go off of the crowd. I think I might have to put something under this next time because this thing is only paint. But oh well. So moving on to the Vikings Undead. It's all right.
It's very pretty, and the Viking masks are phenomenal. But it's maybe it's the amount of traffic. Like the characters can't do that much.
Yeah.
They do, but they don't. I guess they have to choose their scares. It's one of the main traffic ways, so like there's always a big crowd in there, and people have to come and go. So like there's kind of like 2 lanes of traffic. I like the way it looks. I definitely like the way it looks, and I like the soundtrack. Like there's the Viking horns are being blown, and they all look really cool. Like they definitely look undead, but they look like undead Vikings, and there's one of them is like a monster.
Well, there's 2 like sort of stage areas that I haven't really had time to sit and look at and watch.
I kind of did. There's one with an old Viking warrior, and it looks like one of the old corpses from Chance's Scare Zone.
Yeah.
Or
Chance in Hell.
Or also the Fallen. And it it looks like he's doing some sort of ritual thing.
So there's the guy at the altar, and then the other guy like on a little cauldron, and there's kind of a cauldron as well.
Brandy says, "I miss the pumpkin trees. Skull trees just aren't the same." However,
yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have them every year, but they just happen to have them like twice in a row.
But I do like the way the skulls go green. That's really cool.
I wish it wasn't the full skull. I'd rather have it just be the eyes.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, they do some kind of cool stuff with the lighting, but and there's plenty of speakers in there.
Oh yeah.
And then not really a scare zone, but next to it is the Springfield area with the chainsaws.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about that this year, and it's also in an arcade, is they put LED strip lights on the chainsaws.
Mm-hmm.
So they light up as they make the noise. It's funny. When I was staying at the Resort Priority, getting ready, they were starting to rev some of the chainsaws, getting them ready. I said, even like during the rest of the year, if someone's doing some landscaping or trimming some trees or doing something with a chainsaw or a motor that sounds like a chainsaw, whenever I hear it, I go, "Ooh, Halloween Horror Nights!" And like chainsaws now get me excited.
Yeah.
I think of Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
So, so I was like, I could just imagine like some. If you ever watched, I believe it's "Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood."
Mm-hmm.
It might be that one, or it might be one of the scary movies where, like, to put himself to sleep, they put like a hood lullaby in, and it's all like traffic noises and cop cars and stuff like that. Do you remember which movie that was?
No, but that's actually a real thing. Like, for ambient noises, you can get like city noises, if you like, if that's what you're used to, and you're like out in the country for some reason, and You need to hear the city again.
Which is funny because to other people, like, that's awful and, like, why would you want to hear it? But
Yeah.
I was thinking of, I was like, I could see, like, a Halloween Horror Nights super fan, like, when they're trying to relax and fall asleep, just, like, put on random sounds of chainsaws in the background, like, that's so much nicer.
So, Brandy has a question. Have you ever listened to the song The Lumberjack by a band called Jackal?
Live in person.
Really?
In concert.
You saw Jackal live?
Kind of. I was late. Unfortunately, I missed them. They were opening for Aerosmith, and I was too young to drive, and I missed their set, but I heard it when I was walking in.
Oh, well,
and
cool.
I believe they actually had a chainsaw on stage performing the song. Unfortunately, I missed being in the crowd for it. I would have liked to have done that, but yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Because I remember the song, but you seeing it live, that's pretty neat.
No, I already knew about the band and the song at the time, but I almost saw them on stage. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it was the very next show that Aerosmith played after Woodstock 2.
Oh, nice. So back in like what, 94 or some-ish?
Yeah, something like that. That was one of the first concerts I've ever gone to.
Cool.
And so I went big and went to Aerosmith.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure. When I got to the seats, I was like, to the area where the crowd was, I'm like, I'm not sure how to get to where, or I don't remember if I had seats, but I couldn't figure out how to get to where I needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little confused. And then somebody told me to get to where you need to go, just walk this way.
All right, so let's move on to the final scare zone, which is the first scare zone, depending on which way you go.
Yep. An arcade. So this is a zone that I showed you guys in one of my videos. It has 2 laser projectors, which is are capable of doing more than they use them for. But looks pretty cool. Some interesting costumes. And they got the LED wrapped chainsaws too. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I definitely like the costumes in this zone. I like the whole zone in general. Like some people don't really like the zone. Maybe they don't like the concept. Maybe they don't like the way it looks. But the cabinets double as boo holes.
I thought they were going to fill them in more, but I realized why they didn't.
Yeah, there's still walkers in here. There's the glowing chainsaws plus the glowing outfits and the glowing masks.
Yeah, and the sunglasses that you can buy. Well, I guess sunglasses. The glasses you can buy that are neon.
Yeah.
Wrapped.
And the soundtrack is really cool, especially if you like chiptune or NES style music. There's a couple cool remixes in here.
Or even older. Well,
yeah.
Maybe not older, but yeah.
Like there's a particularly really interesting Double Dragon remix with some dubstep kind of
with jellyfish people.
Oh, Evil Tron with jellyfish people. I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely give the zone a try, especially if you like arcades or chiptune or just chainsaws.
Yeah.
And
you probably kind of have to unless you go the other way. So
yeah, or like Phenomenal Brandon said, like if you ever like had a desire for Evil Tron, hey, go check out this zone.
And their arcade cabinets, I think those are custom games. I don't know if those are actual games that existed. They have like little short animations of games on some of the arcade consoles on like TVs, and it's right outside of the Universal Studios store.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, the night I was streaming, they were going hardcore and doing what scare actors need to be doing, and their scares, and like everyone was like. People like me who they're like ah, and they're like oh. Well,
all right. As a scare actor,
so I wasn't getting. I was hoping for like a lot of big reactions on the to make the stream interesting, but like everyone's just kind of walking through.
Yeah,
Well, this is a lot of fun, isn't it? Thanks for joining.
I've also had to tell like people in my cast who are characters that the people who kind of look at you and don't really do anything, those are fans. Like they've been coming here for years and they're hard to scare. They're fans and like they're paying attention to what you're doing, but like they're just tough to scare. It would have been more visually interesting for you to have like people reacting.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like it would have been more fun. The only people, there were two women who were behind me, who got scared. It was one of the times that the camera got all shaky because they ran into me and they kept running into me. Like they kept pushing into me. I'm like, this isn't gonna work. Try going around.
They kept expecting you to like just start moving, I guess.
I don't know. Some people just get so scared about the littlest things.
Yeah.
So, before it's tomorrow, let's talk about the shows.
Okay.
So first one here is the Halloween Marathon. Oh, sorry. The Halloween Marathon of Mayhem.
Yay.
And this, you did see?
Yes, I did.
This is, I was like, it might be okay. This is actually really awesome. And it's, I think, way better than the usual Universal's Cinematic Celebration show. Someone put on Twitter that it's the best nighttime show in any theme park. I'm like, okay.
Wait, which one?
The Halloween Marathon of Mayhem. I don't know if it's that good, but it's definitely better than the normal nighttime show, I think.
Yeah, this is definitely a really good show. I like the concept of it. It's if you're old enough to know or have seen like VHS and like how VHS works, like you'll definitely get some nostalgia. I believe
especially old, worn out VHS tapes.
Oh yeah, I think everyone in our chat is old enough to have dealt with VHS. If you're not, kids, let me tell you, there was a time before we had DVDs.
They might not know what those are either.
Well, let me tell you, there was a time where we actually had to physically rewind what we were watching.
There was a time when we actually had to leave the house to go get a physical copy of a movie before we can watch it.
Yes. So like some kids in the crowd might like wonder what all these like weird noises are and like why there's a play button and like why there's a rewind at the end. But so this is a combination of water effects, water projection, and projection onto the buildings. All mixed for a really cool treat.
And lasers.
Oh yeah, lasers. It deals with all of the IPs. So Stranger Things, Killer Clowns, Ghostbusters. I don't remember there being any Us. Do you remember Us being in there?
I don't remember.
I don't think so. And I don't think any Zombieland either.
It was just the houses.
Yeah, just the house stuff. And some Universal monsters. I can't forget that. Like the Universal monsters are in there. So definitely, it plays 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 12 o'clock. So definitely plan to see this because there's only 3 shows and it's not very long. It's only like 15 minutes.
It's a good length. There might be another one when we go to 2 a.m., but maybe not.
Maybe you're right. Maybe there might be like a 1 a.m.
Because I thought I heard them saying there was 4, but not yet.
Okay. And I know this takes away from house time, but it's definitely worth your time. So yeah, check it out.
It's kind of the point too, though, of the shows, is it because it pulls people out of the queues.
Yeah.
So far this year has been quieter than last year at this time. So
yes, it has.
It might ramp up later. It probably will ramp up later, but this time last year, the first opening weekend was just crammed, and we're like, oh, this is weird. Normally it's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But this year it's been a little quieter so far. still wish that they would put Bill and Ted back and put Academy in the streets, but
who knows?
They did put some kind of inexpensive laser projectors in for this show, but they do what they're meant for, and they look really cool.
Yeah.
They the funny thing is the Killer Clowns projections from last year are back on the same buildings.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Including the song. There is a pretty cool part where there's the tent and one of the Killer Clowns shadows, and then just a person walking around, and the clown walks behind her and goes and turns. The shadow makes it look like it's turning towards the audience, going.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Ghostbusters is not the original Ghostbusters song. It's like some cover of the song, which is interesting.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a remix or something like that. It's not the original version, which is nice because I'm maybe the one person who doesn't like that song.
I got tired of it too.
It's kind of a cheesy 80s song.
By the way, where we lived in South Florida, there was a car dealership called Maroney.
Oh, God.
For decades. I'm talking for decades. They always used the Ghostbusters theme to help sell their calls. Like, who are you going to call? Maroney!
Yeah, and I always got the people who couldn't sing at all to be in the ads. But anyway, they use the moving lights and the gobos pretty well, and they have like the patterns kind of like floating in the fog and the mist, which looks really cool. And there's the lights. There's no pyrotechnics, fireworks, because we have to lock down South Street for the fireworks, and closing an entire street during Halloween Horror Nights would be a very bad idea. So yeah, I knew there wouldn't be fireworks. Supposedly there's like puffs of CO2 or something you can barely see, and it's coming from the buildings. I might have just been saying it wrong. I don't know, but it is pretty cool. It's a very good show. I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah.
And you watched
Academy of Villains Altered States. Okay, so
I don't know. I didn't see it.
All right.
And I'm not going to.
So this is where Bill and Ted used to be, the Fear Factor soundstage, not soundstage, the Fear Factor stage. If you saw the first Academy of Villains show, it's kind of like a sequel to this. The concept is that a scientist has created this potion to, I forget what he's trying to overcome something, but it changes him and his personality and even his mind to the point where he's a different person, kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing.
A little bit. Sounds like a little bit like their first year.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty much a sequel to the first year, including the shadow dancing is back. The stage even looks like the first year stage. They play Master of Puppets a couple times for the transformations. There's some really cool dancing. There's some dancing with a soccer ball, or for you Europeans, a football. There's like a pretty funny joke where the assistant is trying to make love to his soccer ball. Then the other guy slaps him. I appreciate Academy of Villains. It takes a lot of talent and a lot of work and a lot of practice and determination to do those dances, especially with the amount of precision that they do. So I always like watching Academy. I understand that on the stage where Bill and Ted used to be for many, many, many years seems wrong. But I still appreciate Academy. And who knows, Bill and Ted may come back someday. Who knows? So if you're looking to get off your feet, or if you're an Academy of Villain fan, or you just want to watch a show, maybe take a break from some houses, go check out Academy. I really like it. It's fun. It's kind of funny. A lot of talent involved, a lot of cool dances. No audience participation this time. They do bring back those stages that kind of creep into the seating areas. So if you're in the right spots, you'll like be very close to the performer. There's a lot of cool stuff to see. So I definitely recommend seeing Academy.
I just liked it better when they were in the little stage and had kind of restricted space, and it just seems like they made better use of it.
Yeah. Having the bigger stage, I definitely like this better than last year's show. There are parts of Cyberpunk that I didn't quite like, but this I definitely liked all the way through. So Academy guys, if you're watching, thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people gave that feedback because they changed it a lot. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah. The shadow dancing, I think was a big hit from the first show, so I think they brought that back. I even heard like the show I saw was the first show of opening night, and during some of the shadow dancing, like a couple people were going, "What? Whoa!" You know, just the effect of it was so cool. There's even like I think what made somebody go, "What?" There's a portion where there's shadow dancers, and then there's the same characters in front, but the same characters in front are doing different things in the shadow dancing, so it looks really neat.
Yeah. So let's see if this is gonna work. So over to some food. Now, before you even enter the park, you have Voodoo Donut, which has 3 donuts, but for some reason on the website they only show 2. One is they're both based on Stranger Things, of course, and that's finished. And one is like a maple. It's filled with maple Bavarian cream, and then the other one is has a piece of waffle cone and what looks like little butter tabs. And there's a third one, which is a big block. That's a vampire donut filled with Oreo cream, something I think. And then over in the Star Court, which is of course like a food court, is a variety of dishes, including iconic mall dining, which is not fine dining at its best, but food court food. It says grilled corn, which I can pronounce, but there's also some Mexican food as well.
Okay.
Some queso fernino, ampo, amigo, whatever. That's the grilled corn. And then there's also a dessert area, which has always healthy bacon on a stick with dipped in chocolate, and little donuts, which are called zombie donuts, I think. So that all of this is in the tents by Monsters in Gramercy Park.
Mm-hmm.
And then over in the San Francisco area, the triple-decker waffle has returned.
Cool.
Featuring whipped cream and candy. This was featured in season 2 of Stranger Things. And now over to, also still in the park in New York, is the waffle on a stick that stuck around since last year. That's not on their list, I guess because it's a year-round thing, but it's clearly a Stranger Things thing. And then over in the popcorn, I have to try this, even though it's just popcorn with green in it. It's a really cool way of having popcorn in a Ghostbusters trap, which is pretty clever. I saw someone having that. I didn't realize the popcorn was green. Popcorn's green, trap is clean. And now regular pizza fries are back, but this one I might have to try. I know people like those pizza fries. I'm not a fan of pepperoni, so I haven't wanted it. But these are something that you and Mike used to eat at Wings and Things. It is actually it's s'mores fries, but it is sweet potato and marshmallows with, of course, chocolate, which would make it s'mores, and cracker crumbs.
That sounds delicious.
So I'm like, yeah, that's pretty. Actually, that does sound pretty good and looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be trying that, even though sweet potatoes are kind of slimy and disgusting looking.
But they taste good.
And apparently they're healthy, unless you deep fry them. And then there's, again, the pizza fries. And the frozen drinks, which they only show one on the website. This is the candy corn, and they also have the waffle and maple syrup. Again, contains no maple syrup, I'm sure. All corn syrup. And returning again is Twisted Taters, and again the non-alcoholic drinks and pizza fries. So merchandise, there's a lot of places. I'll have to look back at my old event guides to see, but I believe this is more than ever before. And last year they sold out. So
yeah. So they've at least got Tribute Store. I have it right there. Huh?
So they have in City Walk in the security rotunda before you even get into the park. There's some merchandise there. Also in kiosks in City Walk, they have the Universal Studios store, of course. And then when you're leaving, it's a wrap, which is the final exit store by the actual exit. There's also the store right next to the exit in Islands of Adventure. It might be also at not Sahara Traders, the main store in Islands of Adventure. No, unfortunately, you haven't spotted Ecto Coolers. I thought they would have a toasted marshmallow treat based on Ghostbusters. They didn't do that either. Also, the kiosk in Music Plaza recently switched over. The one that's on the Despicable Me side, that was the Secret Life of Pets Part 2 until very recently. Obviously, the Tribute Store. There's a store also in San Francisco. Now, it says Men in Black Gear Shop, but there's 2 of those portable kiosks outside right now. It's not in the gear shop. And Cyber Image, which used to be the exit for Terminator 2. Those are the places I know of. So there's plenty of places to get merchandise, such as the Certified Delicious by Dave and Brian Live, cotton candy and jelly bean. Now they also sell cotton popcorn that is themed for Killer Clowns and a lot of stuff. They do have a lot of stuff this year. So, and also in New York, the arcade is not. Last year they had old school arcade games in the Universal Studios store. Now it is in the actual arcade in New York, the Palace Arcade, and they actually have merchandise for their own arcade. And I don't have them on me, but they have collectible tokens again for the games. So that is a look at that is a very, very extended look at Halloween Horror Nights 29. Other stuff. I am going to be starting a 1-year campaign to try to get up enough money to buy a new camera for a Sony A7S, which would let me shoot better in nighttime, shoot in 4K. Right now I'm streaming this as 720p instead of 1080p because that's the best image I can get out of this camera. This camera would make it much better. I'm trying to get up enough money by Horror Nights 30 because it would shoot photos and video just multiple times better than the camera I have right now. It kind of is in low light. So,
You all right there, Stella?
so that's something I'm going to be working on. I'm trying to make new shirts, but it's one of those things that, like, until I sell more shirts, I can't. It's hard to pay artists to make more shirts. If they don't make them, then I don't sell them.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully won't be a very long 3-hour discussion about this. But see, it's still today. Here in the East Coast, it is the 10th of September, which is the very day, 20 years later, in Venice, the Venice Film Festival, when Fight Club premiered. And a lot of people didn't see it because they didn't know how to promote it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a movie about boxing, which it isn't really.
Yeah. Even like on the DVD special features, like talking about promoting the movie, they had no idea how to do it. The trailer makes it almost look like a comedy, which it's kind of funny.
The trailer to me made it look like it was all about underground boxing, and that was it.
Yeah. So this is one of those movies that get like a word of mouth, like promotion. Like people saw it and were like, dude, no, this movie's really good. So there's a lot going on with this movie. It's not just about underground boxing, although that's sort of what it's about, but like not really. I suppose spoilers for a movie that is now 20 years old. However, the movie is kind of about identity and how you deal with identity and
Why is it? Oh, that's not good.
what? Oh, thank you. So how you perceive yourself, how you want to be perceived, what you think of yourself, how you want to be thought of.
It looks good here, so.
It deals with all of that. Now, I say spoilers for a 20-year-old movie because we saw it upwards of like 4.5 years ago in the theater for a special showing. We just wanted to see it in the theater again.
I wanted to see it in the theater because I didn't see it in the theater.
Oh, I have seen it in the theater. And so we went to a special showing. We saw... it looks like you're frozen on my side too.
Yeah.
I'm back, I guess. We went to a special showing, part of the classic film series. On Sundays and Wednesdays, or now it's more than Sundays and Wednesdays. They do special showings for old movies, and we went to go see Fight Club. We figured most of the people in that theater would be there just to see it in the theater again. But around the time of the big reveal, we saw somebody making kind of a ruckus in the first row. And I kind of looked at Dave. I pointed down. I was like, that person's never seen this movie.
And you're still talking?
Okay. And so like they were kind of like, what? No. Oh man. After the movie, we all kind of like shuffled out together. Like it wasn't that big of a crowd. It was like maybe 20 people. And we were all like, hey, so you never seen this movie? We're like, no. So what'd you think? Oh man, what a head trip that is. And yeah, so 20 years ago today was when it premiered in the film festival.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I was seeing there's a new movie, Joker.
Yeah.
And someone was saying that they thought that the Joker isn't really the Joker, that because the guy looks like he's schizophrenic,
Mm-hmm.
that the scenes where you see him like getting beat up and like bad things are happening and no one cares about him, those are reality. the other scenes where he's a Joker and like all these people are like dressing up like him and he's like big in charge and all that, that's all in his head.
It's possible.
And they said that the biggest example of a movie like that is Fight Club, where the character becomes who he becomes, and he's not two different people. He just sees the other person in his head until he becomes that person.
Yeah.
So
I do remember
the funny thing about Fight Club, that's what I was trying to say. The funny thing about Fight Club is, according to what I read, the author of the book didn't realize it was the same person until he got halfway through writing the book.
That's fascinating. That's actually very fascinating. I remember my introduction to Fight Club was I used to work at a movie theater, but it was a second run movie theater. So movies that it was a bargain theater. It was like $4 a ticket. It was movies that like pretty much had left theaters, so it was called second run. I had seen it. I knew what was going on, and I recommended it to you without telling you about it. And you're like, "Well, I don't want to see a movie about people fighting each other." And so I was like, "All right, well."
And the funny thing is, I didn't see the movie until it was on DVD.
Yeah.
And I was living in the same apartment complex that we used to live in, and my apartment number at the time was 513.
But I remember I came to see you one day. You walked up to me, you had this big smile on your face, and you go, "I saw it." And I knew right away what you were talking about. You're like, "What'd you think?" You were like,
well,
"Oh,
part of the reason I was laughing is because I was watching and I realized that one of the characters was living in the same apartment building number that I was watching the movie in.
Yeah.
Which was like kind of fun. But seeing it in the movie theater was pretty amazing because the soundtrack sounded better than it even in my pretty good sound system.
Oh yeah.
Better than it ever sounded.
Yeah. Like see, if you can definitely see it on a special
especially because you saw it in the second one.
Yeah. It's definitely worth seeing in the theater if there's like some sort of special showing, which they might do because like it's the 20th anniversary.
Maybe.
Yeah, like it sounds so much better in a theater, especially like a good theater with a good sound system. It also deals with like anarchy and corporate anarchy and freedom and free choice, like the whole thing. Like if you've never seen Fight Club, definitely check it out. Phenomenal Brandy says, my husband is a huge fan of Chuck Palahniuk. Not sure on spelling. I think you got pretty close. He's reading the Fight Club comic series right now, which is a direct sequel to the book and movie. It's worth checking out. Yeah, thank you, Brandy. I heard about that like a few years ago when they were working on it, and
well, I know it came out. I don't know about the possibility of another movie. Another thing about the movie that is so awesome is the soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah.
I bought it, and even seeing the movie after hearing the soundtrack so often, sometimes it like pulls you out of the movie, but like it still sounded great in the movie and it didn't really distract me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the last movie I saw in the theater.
Really? Oh yeah. I suppose so.
It's because right before, not in the first one, like I said, but in the special showing.
Yeah.
That was 2016.
Yeah.
So those are the other two things that got placed down here. The two other things. So yeah, that's our little show. It only lasted
3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But our little big show. Thank you everyone for sticking around the whole time, or if you came in the middle, thank you for sticking with us in the middle of a show. I hope you all have a great experience at Harnett's if you are going. If you cannot make it, definitely check out this guy's videos. He did a lot of live streams in the zones.
I'm still trying to get back to do a final bonus episode of walking through and showing the scare zones now that they're finished.
Yeah.
But between working and going to going to the event and all that, it's I haven't had really a whole lot of time. Bummer that Brett couldn't join us, but just the two of us alone made it 3.5 hours. So
Yeah.
imagine a third person. Hopefully he can join us another time, or I can talk to him separately, but because he had a lot to say about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything major going on with Disney. They're doing their Not So Scary, and Legoland isn't doing anything since last show. Brick or Treat is coming up in October, so we'll be there.
Yeah, we're going out. We're going to opening night at Brick or Treat,
and we're gonna just wear the same costumes we were last year because it worked.
Brandy says this is like the Super Bowl of Dave and Brian live. Any more plans for HHN live streams?
No, I don't think so because, like I said, between the copyright issues and the drastic drop in viewership, and the Vikings Undead Zone is, I don't know if it'll look good during the day, and it'd probably be too dark at night. So I'm not sure if I'm going to try that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what else to stream because I can't go in the houses.
I mean, you could just stream some more Vanity Ball or Zombieland. Maybe catch something different. I don't know.
I don't know. The show probably has too much copywritten stuff in it to show, so I think that might be it for streaming this year.
Okay.
In the park.
John also says, "Bravo tutti, many thanks."
You're welcome. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
At this point, I think it's getting too late for Rock Talk, so we'll have to put that off for their next stream in 2 weeks.
All right.
I bought the Tool album on the day it was released digitally because, it's 2019.
It's current year.
And like back when the previous album was released, all those many years ago, I still was buying CDs.
Yeah.
You still need to get it too.
Yeah, I do. I have, before we came to live stream, I did check out a few songs. I'm kind of particularly fascinated by the marriage of noise and progressive, like metal, that they kind of put together. I'm a fan of like noisy metal. I like guitar feedback. I find it kind of soothing. So the fact that they like do some noisy guitar effects and like some interesting things with the drums and the guitar, and Maynard. At least I haven't heard the whole thing, but like at least the kind of like really smooth vocals that Maynard does. It's like a very interesting marriage. I really like the Chocolate Chip Cookie Trip.
Yeah.
That's a fun little instrumental song. It's very weird, but like lets the drummer do his thing. So yeah.
So yeah, we'll hopefully talk about that next week. I was going to talk a little more about the Scare Zone music, but yeah, and also at some point I wanted to do an unboxing of that, maybe during Rock Talk, and then we'll see if we can summon some rock legends and who have passed on and communicate with them.
Yeah, maybe so.
That'd be fun use of the Ouija board.
Yeah, why not?
See if Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix might want to join us.
Maybe.
But for now, thanks for watching the 60-hour marathon. It's like watching one of those movie marathons, like the Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah. or like watching. I've seen people in the park wear it. The More Than a Fan Marvel shirts, where they showed all 22 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. It took like 3 days, and like all you had were like a couple like there was no going home for the night. There was like you were committed to watching this and taking bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
I think it was like a year ago.
And some of them after watching them might have actually been committed.
Oh yeah. Supposedly, last year when they did it, I saw a guy wearing that More Than a Fan shirt, and I said, "So you watched all those movies?" Like, yeah, 3 days of movies, and I saw it in New York, and then I drove here over 2 days. So I'm like, "You haven't slept in a week?" You're like, "No, go home, get some sleep."
Yeah. So Brandy says she has spoofity, so you guys should try that. I just bought it because I wanted to support them.
Yeah.
And someday I might see them live. But for now, we'll have more time to work on Talking Rock.
Yeah.
The next show, as of now, looks like the 24th of September.
Okay.
So we'll see if we have some guests. There is the person I went to preview night, and unfortunately she's not going to be back till the 25th. So she won't be here. Who knows about Brett? But we shall be here. Continue to work on the show. Hope you like The Fog. It was more contained into that bowl than I'd like it to be, but oh well. So
have a good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. Happy Halloween.
Just for a moment here, just to let the chat catch up. For some reason, he's streaming it from the internet, and his chat updates faster than mine. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
thanks so much. Brandon says, "Thanks so much, guys. Enjoyed it."
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.